Well, welcome in, everybody. Ben and Woods, 97.3 The Fan. Let's get our heads right on a Wednesday. That's really a Friday. If we're being completely upfront and honest with you guys, it's our Friday today. So I'm going to tell you right now, we've all got a little bit of vacation brain, which is fine. It's to be expected. You do, too. Just because you don't do this for a living doesn't make you any better than us. I mean, we suffer from it as well. I know I'm halfway out the door as we speak. But, listen, really exciting game to talk about last night, too. So that really pumped my nads to get out of bed and come in and talk about a 2-hit shutout by the Texas Rangers. So, yeah, you can see our reluctance this morning. But, no, we're gonna do our very best to deliver you some laughs and some honest opinions like we always do. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl. He's the executive producer. Good morning, Paulie.
Hey, how are you?
Fantastic. Benjamin Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor. Benjamin, how are you?
Good morning. Special hello to everybody heading out on the roadways or heading to the airport. They say biggest travel week, perhaps like record setting this week with people heading out on vacation, using that, not technically 4-day weekend, but let's be honest, 4-day weekend for a lot of people is a chance to kind of extend their summer vacation. So they say airport's going to be as busy as it's been, record-setting days to start and end the week. So if you're out there, be patient, be kind. A lot of people hitting the roads and hitting the airports and, heading off on summer vacation.
I'm hitting the La Jolla Playhouse today at 2 p.m.
Are you?
For a little culture. The missus and I going to go get a little culture, a matinee performance.
Are you going to that Johnny Cash show? I heard about that.
The Ballad of Johnny and June. And my father-in-law got it for me. Now, here's the thing about you. We've talked a lot on this show about, planning stuff and having things planned. You guys know generally how I feel about it, right? Like, I get a little bit like, oh, okay. So he sends me this beautiful text message for Father's Day, and he's just the greatest guy. And he goes, I know you don't like stuff being planned for you. We can move the date if you want to, but I got you tickets, you and Hannah. We'll take the kids. I want you to see this. It's called The Ballad of Johnny and June. And I swear to God, if it was about anybody else, if this was, hey, it's Fiddler on the Roof, I would have been like, Scott, come on, just please give them away. I don't want to go see Fiddler on the Roof. I don't want to see anything else. But because it's The Ballad of Johnny and June, I thought, all right, I bet you I enjoy this very much. I checked the runtime yesterday because I have to know these things. We talked last week about people that check the set lists. I have to know what I'm walking into. How I'm wired. Some people don't. Whoa, my light just fell down. Sometimes it's just how it's wired, how people are wired. I'm wired to want to know exactly what to expect. So 2-hour and 15-minute runtime, which isn't bad. You go an hour.
With an intermission.
Then you go an hour, intermission for 15 minutes, grab a soda pop or whatever. It's Johnny Cash, maybe an amphetamine. And then from there, you go and do the last hour, and you're good to go. So I'm actually, I I was kind of dreading it. Now I'm kind of excited. We're going to make a day of it. And no kids. So it's going to be
Walk
great.
the Line, really good movie. I imagine this is kind of a stage version of something similar.
The funny thing is yesterday, Bo and I were home, and I put on, we watched a movie. Do you remember the movie, Benny? You probably do. Summer School with Mark Harmon.
Not the one with...
Kirstie Alley's in it.
Well, what am I thinking about the one with Rodney Dangerfield?
That is Back to School.
Back to School.
Summer
That's what
School
I was thinking
was
of.
Mark Harmon, and he takes these degenerate kids that failed he's got to teach them remedial English. They got to pass this big test. You don't remember this? It was a huge hit in our youth. Huge. Paulie, have you ever even heard of Summer School? Do you know who Mark Harmon is?
Yes.
Okay, good. He was on CSI
NCIS.
or NCIS, right. So Bo and I watched that. He loved it, thought it was great, and said, I don't ever want to go to summer school. And I said, well, study, and you won't have to. Your old man had to do it a bunch in college. So we watched that, and then I flipped over, and there's a Johnny Cash documentary on that I'd never seen, and I ended up watching most of that. So good timing. It's got me in the mood to go see this. I was going to spend the afternoon at the theater. I feel very fancy.
Sounds like a good time.
I know. I'm excited. Very fancy.
Mark Harmon, by the way, former starting quarterback at UCLA.
Yes,
he
was.
Want to bring everything back to sports like I tend to do. That's where he got his beginning. So he's what do they call it? Silver Fox.
Yeah, he's sharp,
as they like to say. Yeah, don't worry, you're fine. We can see you.
Oh, God.
There's light in
Please
here.
stop.
Just wait until the break
we got
to
it.
try to fix your light.
You're doing it wrong.
Paulie says you're doing it wrong.
Perfect.
He thinks he's doing it right. I don't know why it would just fall off randomly. That was kind of unusual.
Screws
But
fall out all the time. The world's an imperfect place.
well, while you're doing that, I want to bring this up because I mentioned all the travel that's going on, and I saw this tweet yesterday, and people were kind of going crazy. I think it was actually from Instagram. It said someone said traveling with a baby needs to have additional charges and approval from a doctor that the baby won't cry. If the baby cries, then penalties and charges need to be applied to the parent or family for the inconvenience they caused others who don't have babies. What do you feel about traveling with very young infants?
I mean,
on airplanes?
Look, I've said this many, many times. If we could stop our children from crying, we would.
Of course we would.
We absolutely would. We know the inconvenience that it causes. We feel it as deeply and bad. More than your inconvenience. What a parent goes through physically, and not just mentally, physically on a plane when your kid is screaming. It's a physical pain that you feel, and it's not really, oh, my child might be in pain. It's everyone around me wants to kill me. And there's a visceral reaction you have. But the thing is, man, it's also the year 2024. I've got these noise-canceling earbuds. I can't hear an effing thing. Nothing. If I put these things on, my house could burn down around me. And I wouldn't know. I wouldn't hear the screams.
Well, maybe you take your earplugs out, and then you'll know that your baby's crying.
But your baby's crying. I'm talking to the people on the plane. Put these in. They're not that
I'm curious to
expensive.
get Paulie's perspective on this. Paulie, who, like many people nowadays, you don't have children, which is more common than it used to be. We, of course, are parents, and obviously we've traveled with our children, and there's always going to be at some point a bad moment. So I have empathy for people who are traveling with their kids, and they're not being good, they're crying, and there's not much you can do about it. As you said, Woods, it can be panicky, but I also see the perspective of, like, if you and Megan are on a trip and you paid a ton of money for a flight and you're going on vacation, you want to have a good time, the last thing you feel like you should endure is someone who's sitting, like, right next to you across the aisle and the baby is screaming on a 4-hour flight for wherever you're going. It's like, this is not what I wanted to do, to get away on vacation.
Yeah,
and do you feel like the parents are
well, I don't expect them to leave their children
selfish.
at home.
Well, yeah. Okay,
Like,
so at least you have that perspective.
I get that if, I don't know what they're doing. If they're going to the Bahamas or something, like on a vacation, it doesn't matter. But, like, they could be flying to go see family for a funeral. I don't know. Like, they have to bring their children. There's really no way around that. And I don't fault them for it. I don't fault them for the baby crying on the plane. Babies are going to cry. It's very annoying. Mm-hmm. It makes me want to die. And if I'm sitting in, 34A and somebody sits next to me with a newborn, My immediate reaction is, oh God,
Yeah.
here we go.
No, so is mine, and I have 2 kids, but mine is too. But then it's like,
But I recognize also that the parents, like, nobody is more mortified than the parents.
I think there's a phenomenon though where people who don't have kids look at parents and they say they're kind of selfish for bringing their kids along,
right?
And, impacting me who chose not to have kids. Like I made that decision. But I also think that people who have kids sometimes look at people who don't have kids and like, well, that's a selfish decision. You're not.
Sure.
We're propagating the species, and you're just, enjoying your life without children. But we're, trying to keep the human race going.
That just comes from a place of sheer jealousy. That's all that comes from. It's like, oh, you guys on a couples trip
with no kids? Yeah.
How much intercourse do you think you're going to have in the Bahamas? Because I promise you, I'm having none. 0. I probably won't sleep. Bro, we're doing a staycation this weekend and at a hotel. I'm not going to get a lick of sleep or relaxation. Nothing. This isn't. It's a trip. That's all it is. It's a trip. It's not a vacation.
Planes are one thing because, like I said, you don't know why anybody's traveling. Like, that's kind of the only way to get somewhere sometimes.
Yeah, right.
But I think it's totally different. You can feel totally different if you're sitting at Petco Park. You go to the movies or something, and then somebody sits next to you with a newborn. You're like, what the hell are you doing here? Of course the baby's going to cry. They're blasting, music loud at Petco Park or whatever. Like, of course your baby's going to cry. I shouldn't have to deal with that.
No, and listen, I kind of feel the same way, too, when I go to Vaughn's, and I'm like, oh, cool, you do have your golden retriever in here amongst our food and stuff. Like, when I walk into restaurants, I'm like, I love dogs, too, but that is a massive German Shepherd walking through here, in this restaurant. It happens everywhere. No, we've talked about it before. The lack of self-awareness is what really hurts the human race. It really is. It's the my kids cry. If you guys have ever been with me and my kids start to cry at a restaurant or anywhere, you know where I go?
Right outside.
Parking lot.
Yeah. Now, on a plane, you can't really do that.
But, bro, I will eat my meal outside at a restaurant if the kids won't settle
But if
down.
I'm on a plane and, there's a baby and the parents seem like they're doing everything they can to try to calm the child, pacifier, blankie, whatever, doing whatever they can, and it's just not working, I'm not going to get mad about it. I'm going to understand they're trying at least. If they're just doing nothing and like, okay, you're just letting them cry it out. Okay, that will bother me even as a parent.
Cody said, I saw they have hushing device for babies now.
Hushing device?
Yeah, they do. And we put it right next to our...
Is it like that Hannibal Lecter mask?
It's like a little thing, and it just goes...
A muzzle?
It goes, shh. Shh.
So you don't have to do it yourself?
Yeah. And you get it, and you put it next to your kid. It's a sweet thought. It doesn't work. Bo was colicky. He didn't sleep for 6 months. You guys remember? I mean, it was like, this guy's going to go off the deep end. Remember I almost beat that guy up? That's because I hadn't slept in 6 months. And we had the hushing device. You couldn't do anything with him without him. Everywhere we went. I looked at Hannah and I said, this was a huge mistake. I called my mother at 3 a.m. Smoking a cigarette, by the way. Stopped to get cigarettes at 3 a.m. He's in the car. I'm leaning on the hood of my
Ben
car.
Affleck.
Call my mother. I'm moving to Mexico. Take care of my family, please. I can't do this. This was a huge, huge, huge mistake. Kill me. I mean, it was just... Parents are trying as hard as they can out there, man. They really, really are. Hannah says he was sleep trained at 6 months, settled down. All right, 3 months then. Yeah, it was gnarly. He was so bad. Parents on planes, I'm not going to get mad at you at all. I know how hard it is. These things are...
I would only get mad, because I've seen parents, I'm like, are you even trying to get your kid to calm down?
Yeah, I mean, sometimes you're just
That's just bad parenting.
It's bad parenting, but there's also, they've exhausted every trick in the book. I mean, every trick in the book sometimes. And these noise canceling ones they're lifesavers. They should have 10, 12 pair on planes for people that didn't bring them and people that can't handle. I don't like the sound of a screaming baby. It gives me the worst anxiety ever, especially when it's mine. Taylor's new bit is just screaming in your face as loud as he can. And it is shrill and it feels like it's going to break the window. When he doesn't want to do something, he just looks at you and goes, ah! And you're like, bro, what is your problem?
Sounds
dude?
effective.
It's very, very effective. So, yeah, we've got, Hannah said, we're a family of 4. We have 4 sound machines that we absolutely, if you walked in our house in the middle of the night, here's what you'd hear. Like the whole house, dude. I saw that thing you sent it over, Betty. I couldn't believe it. Yeah, just get a prescription from your doctor for the non-crying baby
Of
next
course,
time you go on a trip. But
you're not negligent if your baby cries.
no, you're not. They're actually supposed to.
I mean, empathy goes a long way. But if I'm
Self-awareness does, too.
I'm not getting any back from the other person, it's really hard to show it as well.
They do the bit too of like, hey, I'm going to buy everybody in our section a drink. It's not going to help you. I mean, it just doesn't.
Right. Again, I think planes are the one where it's like there's nothing you can really do about it. But if I sit down to a nice dinner at Rare Society or something, and I know I'm dropping $300-$400, there's a freaking baby right. I'm like, what are you doing?
I know.
Why are you here?
Go
away.
That's selfish.
That
dude.
ruins my experience.
It is.
That actually does.
You're absolutely right because those people can get up and go outside.
Right. You can't do that on a plane, but
Bro,
you can do that at a restaurant.
In my house, you guys know me. The slightest, like, I'm like, get your ass up. We're going outside. I run out to the parking lot of Bennigan's or something. Like, we're staying out here until you can calm it down. You good? You get a special treat. Okay, I'm good. All right, we'll get this back inside. Bro, I'm a wreck about it. I'm a wreck about it. So, man, that's good stuff, Benny. I like that. I like that topic a lot. And yes, 4th of July. We'll have some 4th of July chatter today, I'm sure.
Caitlin says in the chat, I'd be concerned that a child was dead if it wasn't crying.
Bro, yes.
But now I'm trying to think. Can you picture Ben like as a baby crying? I bet Ben was like the one baby that just was like,
just taking it all in.
Mama Higgins could probably attest to that one way or the other. But
I bet he was a little bit of a crier.
I don't think so.
No?
I mean,
he's Mr. Even Keel.
He is Mr. Even Keel. But was he baby
I think he's
even?
been like that.
Was he baby even keel?
I was definitely a crier as a child. But I don't think I was a loud crier. I was more of the quiet, like whimper kind of crier, sort of sad, just
That's the saddest thing I've ever
nervous
heard.
child. But
Like a little puppy.
yeah.
You're so sad, bro. Oh, that's great. That's great.
All right, a little parenting this morning as we get you ready for the holiday weekend coming up. We'll set the menu for the program coming up. It is a guest-heavy Wednesday. We'll let you know the lineup that we have. Just it's like a lineup. It's just
really
one after another. But they're all good, so.
Hope you guys like baseball out there.
Yeah, that's probably true, but it's the good time of the year for it. It's July. It's, there was some breaking news this morning from the National Basketball Association. I'll probably mention it at some point, so stick around for that.
Yeah, big one.
Stick around for that. We'll get to all of that. The menu coming up next. Kelly's got traffic. It is Wednesday. It's a holiday tomorrow. Let's try to have a good time here with Betta Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Got a baseball trade this morning as well. Two items of breaking news on 97.3 The Fan, presented by BetQL. Smarter bets. Start with BetQL. Download the BetQL app or visit BetQL.com today. Do you want me to start with the baseball or the basketball? Medicine first
Go
or
with the
dessert first?
Go with the basketball. It's a bigger story, I'd say.
It is, but it's not. It's what everyone completely expected. But the Lakers have agreed to a 2-year max contract extension with LeBron James, who opted out of his $51.4 million deal last month, only to opt into $52 million over 2 years with another player option at the end of the year, so we can go through all of this again at the end of the season.
Right,
and
so
no trade clause as well.
He was making how much?
51.4.
And now he's making how much?
52.
Okay. But
weren't the rumors that he was going to take less?
restructure.
Yeah, and this isn't less. Now, he could have gotten a 3-year deal, and he took 1+1, but that doesn't really save the Lakers any cap room. They're still pushing into the second apron, which is like the NBA's version of the competitive balance tax in baseball, and it comes with more penalties, more restrictions. Essentially, they're probably not going to be able to sign anyone or add anyone. Now, they missed out on all the guys that they wanted.
There's really nobody left.
There's really not anybody left.
Make a trade.
So I guess LeBron said, well, if no one else is going to get it, I might as well take it. I guess there's still some discussion that if he takes $1 million less, they'll have a little bit more flexibility under the second apron. So maybe it's not completely finalized, but that was the breaking basketball news this morning. Shocker, LeBron wants to stay and play for the team that just drafted his son last week.
Who, by the way, came out yesterday and said, playing with my dad, I didn't even think about it. We're just getting gaslit repeatedly by sports teams. Look, Mike Schilt will gaslight us from time to time. It's absolutely gaslighting. He's telling us we didn't see what we just saw, right? Bronny James gaslit the hell out of us. JJ Redick gaslit us yesterday when he told us, no, he's earned everything. He's earned this. Bro, he averaged 4 points a game and a board a game in a year. Like, okay, if that's what you really want to try to sell us, I guess you have to buy it. It's very, very odd.
Bronny was introduced yesterday, and JJ Redick went out of his way to go, we didn't give him anything. He earned this with hard work. It's like, no.
That's gaslighting.
He didn't really. If his name wasn't Bronny James Jr., he's not leaving college. No one's drafting him after half a season at USC when he scored, 5 points a game. It's just not happening. So there's clearly a LeBron effect going on with this move. Now,
it also doesn't bother me, though. I totally get
I agree with you.
Right.
What's LeBron supposed to do? Not do everything he can to help his own child and further his career? And what's Bronny supposed to do? He seems like actually really good kid. Considering the spotlight he's lived in his entire life, seems pretty normal, got a pretty good head on his shoulders, understands, what's going on and is dealing with it, has overcome, had a heart attack about a year ago, has overcome a lot. I like
feel
Bronny.
as a
He seems
Lakers
okay.
fan? Like, you're the Lakers fan. This is I mean, they weren't going to make a second-round draft pick that was going to make an impact on the court, but like, I see the LeBron news today, and I go, look, that man's legacy is cemented. He's got
good.
4 rings.
Yeah,
he's
he's
a top 3 player of all time,
No doubt.
bar none.
Arguably number one.
Right, like you can make the argument.
Of course.
And
we're not going to today.
No.
So you know.
But this guy's entering year 40. All he wants, he's doing something that literally, nobody thought would ever be done.
Yeah, it's cool.
Basketball, playing father and son together.
Yeah, it's cool.
I think it's just a good story.
It's a good story, but yeah.
You're not expecting Lakers to make the playoffs.
The
next year.
gaslighting. I also want to call. I don't think Ben's much of a Laker fan anymore. I think that you're just hanging on to it. I don't see you being super passionate about the Lakers.
I mean,
anymore.
it's nowhere near my Padres fan.
Right. And when it's
Probably my still second favorite major pro team.
Oh, really?
Well, there's not a lot of competition.
I mean, should the Seals? Should we just go F ourselves on that one?
NBA, NFL, Major League Baseball, NHL.
Right.
I mean, I don't have an NFL team anymore.
Yeah.
So they're really the only thing other than the Padres that I even care a little bit about.
Not college. You don't have a huge college football team.
I mean, Aztecs basketball is huge. That's big. But in major pro sports in the United States,
yeah, Tony. Somebody
number
says
2
in the chat,
Tony's a bigger Laker fan than I am.
A lot more passionate.
I think so too.
Yeah.
Tony is a bigger fan, and realistically, they're not probably going to be another 6, 7 seed, and likely out in the first round of the playoffs again next year, unless LeBron and AD get hurt, and then they're going to be a complete disaster, which is always a possibility when you got a 40-year-old on your team as your essential anchor. At some point, LeBron's going to give out. Now, he was amazing last year for
really
39,
was, man, yeah.
but at some point, he's going to, I mean, Father Time wins over everybody, and it's gonna run out.
Like,
It's going to be ugly when it does.
Those rumors were going around like, oh, he's going to restructure. He wants to bring in some quality players around him. I'm thinking, I don't know, man. He's going to just do what's best for him and his family right now. The guy has given the game everything he's had for 20 years now, and I think you just have to be okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then the baseball trade just in this morning, a little bit of a surprise. The Milwaukee Brewers have acquired pitcher Aaron Savali from the Tampa Bay Rays in exchange for a minor leaguer.
Infielder Gregory Barrios, according to sources familiar with the
Now,
deal.
Savali is not having a great season. He's got an ERA over 5. But if this shows that the Tampa Bay Rays are open for business and starting to sell off players, there's going to be a lot of teams that are interested in some of the other commodities that they have on their roster.
One of those interesting teams that can deal pitching from a position of surplus. I mean, like, how many teams around the league are like, anybody you need a starting pitcher? Because we've got 7.
If there's ever a team that is willing to look at the market and go,
yes,
our chances realistically aren't great, and we're in a perfect position to sell and restock our farm system for the future, it's always going to be the Tampa Bay Rays.
They love to do it.
They love facing reality faster than anybody else. So they're facing the reality again. Yeah, I don't think we're catching the Yankees or the Orioles or anyone this year, so let's make the best of this market. When everybody needs pitching and we've got some, let's start trading it away for whatever we can get.
Well, they'd be right there in it if they were in the National League.
Yeah,
they're 43 and 42. They actually have a winning record. They've won their last 2, but their run differential, Benny, minus 52 runs. They're not scoring runs. And yeah, I mean, you look at it, they're 4th place in the division. They're 11 out of 11 out of the division and 3 back of the wild card. But again, I don't think trading Aaron Savale signals a white flag at all for them. You know, they have a chance to improve their farm system. They took it. So it is nice to know that they're willing to deal.
All right, quickly on the menu today, as I said, we got a big lineup of guests. Big League Wednesday, and I mean Big League Wednesday. Not 100% sure about Adam Jones. He usually ends up showing up. If he does, we kind of have him slotted in tentatively for 7:30. But coming up at 8 o'clock, it's Bret Boone, our friend and Odyssey Insider. He's always fantastic. 8:35, old friend alert. Nick Hundley. Remember Nick, former Padres catcher. He is now a current Rangers special assistant to general manager Chris Young.
He's the best.
Padres taking on the Rangers. Felt like a good chance to catch up with Nick Hundley. He's going to be on with us at 8:35. And because tomorrow's a holiday, we've moved Eno Sarris up for some smart baseball at 9 o'clock. So boom, 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 lineup of guests, regular features in our 7 o'clock hour. And, of course, Padres wrap-up of what was a fairly dismal and dull 7-0 loss, but we'll get into it. There's one thing in the game that bothered me. Really just one.
It was like one pitch.
The one pitch that really bothered me in that game last night. We'll talk about it coming up next with Bennett Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Before we get to our Padres wrap-up, almost forgot about the incorporator from yesterday. Jesse Agler joined us
So did
at
Jesse,
8:35.
actually. He almost forgot about
He
it as
said
well.
he did, but I was actually listening in the car, and he almost slipped it by me. So Woods came up with the word. Here was yesterday's setup for the incorporator.
Bro, I found this word,
Okay.
and I'm still looking for how to say it. So I sent it to Paulie for the pronunciation. Go ahead, Paulie.
Nudistration.
What?
What's the definition?
It's a good question. I'm glad you asked that question.
Nudistation?
Nudistortion. Yeah, it's an adjective.
Of or relating to the day before yesterday.
The day
Very
before
recent.
yesterday. Nudistortion.
So it struck me later that, Woods, are you just starting to Google search NUD and that came up? Is that where the inspiration was?
Yes, when I want to enjoy some adult entertainment, I just go to nude. I just put in nude into Google.
So I was in the car in the eighth inning listening, and I get the sense, like with Jesse, that here it comes. He's trying to get to something. No, he got it so fast. I almost missed it. Like, wait, did he just incorporate? And I mean, Tony didn't say anything. I barely noticed it. This was just as casual can be in the eighth inning yesterday.
A 1 pitch into the air, straightaway right field. Johnson is back and in front of the warning track. He has room to make the catch, one away. For the Rangers, kind of a continuation of their Nudisterian game on Sunday night in Baltimore. That was their best offensive output since May 8th. And they have come back with another big night at the dish here tonight.
Yeah, just the day before yesterday. They're just continuing on with
Might
the big
have
offense.
fumbled the pronunciation just a
Yeah,
little
I think
bit,
he
but
said
he crushed
Nudisterian
it.
instead of Nudistortion, but the usage was spot on, 100%, and no one blinked an eye. I barely blinked an eye, and I knew that was the incorporator word, and I'm like, okay, I get it. I see where he's going there. So
Next week we can do nudge, because that's also N-U-D. I'm just looking up nude words. Nude sticks are a type of brand of shoe. All right, yeah, nude. Not a lot of nude words. All right.
there was one. I really, honestly, Mike Schilt over tips his cap to the opponent. We know this.
Oh, we got another one.
Yesterday actually was probably an appropriate time to tip your cap to the opponent, but there was one thing that bothered me. One pitch bothered me about the game yesterday. We'll get to it in our Padres wrap-up right after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
I got to tell you guys, I'm not too impressed with your driving so far this morning. We had a rollover crash on southbound 15 before Adams Avenue. This vehicle went up the right shoulder embankment. In the North County, several problems. Southbound side of the 15, right before Deer Springs Road, there is a collision involving a couple vehicles. Looks like at least one of them is in the center divide. Now, further south on the 15, before West Bernardo, there's another crash. This one is in the center divide. Also going to find on the northbound 5, right before Carmel Valley Road, a collision involving a couple vehicles. Looks like this one's got the 2 left lanes blocked. I'm Kelly Danick with Fan & Wood, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
It's a shame if they lose.
Oh, a shame indeed.
It's a complete crap.
Oh, I did not like that.
Here are the lowlights from yesterday's game.
Are you kidding me?
Boo.
It's the Padres Wrap-Up, presented by Hamul Casino. With thrilling slots and tables and all the best rewards, Hamul Casino has all the fun you're looking for. Hamul Casino, fun above all else.
We'll give it 16 minutes of salt, and then we'll, get back on the bump and figure it out.
It's not your fault.
2-2 the pitch, and the changeup hit in the air to right field. Straight away and deep. Johnson is back. He's looking up. It's going to go. Home run on the Ephus change, and Nathaniel Lowe made him pay for it. A 2-run shot in the bottom of the first inning. Against Dillon, the 0-1 pitch swung on, hit in the air to right center field. Long run, Jackson Merrill. Deep into the gap, looks up. It's off the wall, right by the 410 marker. Heim will easily come in to score a long RBI double for Leody Taveras, and the Rangers lead it 3-0 here in the second. Not running, and the 3-1 pitch hit in the air to straightaway left field and deep. Profar's going back, still going back. He's at the wall. This one gonna go. Second of the night for Nathaniel Lowe. Out to right field in the first inning, out to left here in the third, and a 5-0 Ranger lead. against a drawn-in infield. Swings, hits it in the air to shallow left. Profar charging in on the run, not going to be able to get there. Drops down and a base hit. Blue RBI single for Simeon to snap in 0 for 18, and the Ranger lead is now 6-0. There's a line drive into left field. That's going to bounce and roll all the way to the wall. Tavares racing around third. He's going to come in and score easily. Another double for the Rangers. This one for Ornelas, and it's 7-0 here in the sixth. 3-2 to Machado. The pitch from Evaldi is swung on and missed. Strike three. Came with the splitter and got him. His sixth strikeout of the night. And now 13 in a row retired by the Ranger righty. Here's the 0-1 pitch. Rosario grounds it to third base. Backhanded Ornelas. Long throw across the diamond is in time. A 1-2-3 for Hernandez. And the ball game is over. Rangers win their second straight. They mashed here tonight. They also got 7 sparkling innings from Nathan Evaldi, who allowed 1 hit without walking a batter in his start here tonight. Final score again, Texas 7 and the Padres nothing.
Yeah, no, I mean, sometimes you got to tip your hat. I mean, the guy was really good tonight, and we did hit some balls hard. No one ever likes to hear that when you don't score, but, we squared up some balls right at people. Center fielder had to make a run a couple plays and did a nice job, and but we couldn't scratch anything together.
Boy, I know he hates the roller coaster term, but it just continues to feel very appropriate for the Padres. They score 20 runs over a 13-inning span, and now have scored 1 run in their last 19 innings. It's just up and down. And by the way, Dylan Cease is as big of a culprit of the roller coaster as anyone.
No question.
Will look as dominant as any pitcher in baseball. 7 innings, 1 hit, and then the next time it is just a string of extra base hits, home runs, doubles. Yesterday, 3 2/3 innings, 8 hits, 6 earned runs given up by Dylan Cease, and that happens. I get it. The one pitch that made me mad was that for the first highlight, the first home run, the first inning by Nathaniel Lowe. And it's because, and Jesse said it well, he hung that ephus change. It's a pitch he throws about 1% of the time.
Yeah.
Maybe once a game. And he's talked about it. It's really a throwaway pitch designed to just get the batter out of the, his 95, really hard stuff. Like, you keep seeing the hard stuff. Throw him something that's 70 just to mess with his timing. But it's not really a good pitch. It's not a pitch that gets any swing and miss. It's one that's almost always just taken for a ball, I'd say about 80, 90% of the time. Now, he did throw one for a strike earlier, and he tried to go back to it. And you just don't want to get beat on your, 5th best pitch? It's just you can't let major league batters get you on something that you know is not a competitive pitch. And that one put him behind 2-0 and essentially ended the game, because they never scored after that. Now, did it matter? Would they have won that game if he hadn't thrown that pitch? Probably not.
No, and it's the same argument. You can't. I was up in arms a little bit after the missed strike 3 call to Lowe as well. Of course, the very next pitch, you throw that pitch and he hits it out of the ballpark. He did have him rung up. Pitch was in the zone. It was a great pitch. Could it have changed the momentum of the game? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I'm not a prognosticator, Benjamin. I can't see the future. I wish I could. But when you roll out 2 hits in 29 ABs, it's not going to get the job done, guys. Arise 0 for 3, Profar 0 for 3, Cronenworth 0 for 3, Machado 0 for 3, 3 Ks. Solano 1 for 3, Merrill 0 for 3, Hassan Kim 0 for 3, Higgy 0 for 3, and first knock of the game in the 5th inning or whatever was from Bryce Johnson, or the 3rd inning or whatever. But yeah, it was an ugly offensive performance, stagnant. We talked about it off the air this morning. I don't like getting walked off on. I really hate that. Like it's the one that keeps me up at night and sticks with me like son of a gun. But man, these games where it's like being in a root canal, where it's ground out, K, pop out, K, ground out. And, of course, Evaldi's a good pitcher. No question about it. None. He's a really good pitcher, has been for a long time. Said yesterday, you better be on his fastball. You weren't on his fastball. And that way he mixes in that splitty. He can get pretty nasty on you, pound the ball into the ground. Pods did hit some balls hard. I thought the play that was made by their shortstop. It was
the one on
Smith.
Ha-Sung Kim's hot shot off the third baseman's glove. That was an incredible
one
play.
of the better plays I've seen. Or I think who hit that? It was Kim.
Ha-Sung Kim, yeah.
Ha-Sung Kim hit it. Yep. Third baseman backs up on it, boots it. Shortstop's right there, makes a great play. But other than that, I mean, Manny looked pretty lackluster at the plate, kind of waving at stuff last night. Just an ugly night.
Yesterday, I hadn't realized how much the Padres had owned the Texas Rangers. They'd won 11 straight against the Rangers dating back to 2018 until yesterday. Oh, those streaks are always going to have to end, but now here we are again. Padres are still 3 games above 500.
Yep.
They did fall behind the Cardinals into the third wild card spot. Again, it's too early to really care specifically about where you are in the standings, but they're once again at that pivot point. Is this the start of a losing 5 out of 6 to drop back to 500, or is this a 2-game losing streak, which every team's going to have a bunch of those over the course of the season, and then they turn it right back around and, win 8 of their next 10? Which is it going to be, San Diego Padres? Is that magnet going to pull you right back to 500 again, as it's done every time? You finally got to 5 games above 500 for the first time with a really solid 9 out of 10. Can you escape the clutches, the pull that has drawn you back every single time this season? It's okay to be drawn back 2 games. Don't make it 4. And today's game is going to be a tough one. Adam Azier has yet to really put together a great performance in his, 4 or 5 big league starts.
Yeah, those cats are licking their chops across the way.
John Gray, who always tormented the Padres when he was with the Rockies.
Bro, did you see his numbers against the Pods? He is 12-6 with a 299, 159 Ks in 25 appearances.
And he's having a good season this year, and the Rangers are now hot. Everything points toward Rangers should be on a roll now, and the Padres need to do something to stop it. They need to step up, and the offense needs to step up and shake off the last 2 games' performances. How about not giving up a 2-run home run in the first inning like they've done in each of the last 2 games? And figure it out, because if they lose this one, now they're trying to avoid a sweep in the final game of the series on the 4th of July, and then you're even closer to 500 again. So here we go again, San Diego Padres.
Jeff says doom and gloom already. I mean, it's definitely gloom. I'll give you gloom. I'm not going to give you doom. But gloom, those games last night, those are gloomy-ass games to watch. Just a putrid offense that, again, they didn't strike out a ton. It's the old, and you heard Schultz say it, balls didn't find holes. Okay, fine. I'll wear that today. But, yeah, it's a little gloomy because you do have to look at today's matchup, and then you have to look at tomorrow's matchup with Max Scherzer on the bump and go, all right, man, you're behind the 8 ball. Your best chance was to win last night, and now you're really going to have to pull something out of your rear end with Adam Azier on the bump. I don't see him going out and dominating that lineup, but Dylan Cease too is just so up and down. He's so capable of good starts, but yeah, when he blows up, it's pretty severe when he does it.
And we did talk about it yesterday. The Padres offense does require some luck to get going. I mean, all of these big innings that they've had have not been an unrelenting string of extra base, 106-mile-an-hour liners. Every single time it feels like they've had the 6-run inning, the 5-run inning, the 9-run inning. 2 or 3 of those hits, kind of bloopers.
Yeah, bleeders.
Fell in, or an infield nubber that turned into an infield single. There's always 1 or 2 of those that have to go the Padres' way to put together their big pass the baton type innings. And when a game like yesterday, when they don't get any of those hits, nothing falls in, it's almost impossible to put together offense. They've got they've had more home run pop lately, but didn't have any yesterday, didn't have any extra base hits. There's just no offense to be found when that happens.
There's not much to talk about, man, when it's a 2-hit shutout. There's just not much to talk about at all. When you're, 2-hit shutout is like a dream for, and Evaldi was great. There's no question about it. But he was around the zone. He didn't walk anybody. He was around the zone. Just didn't hit him. Just did not hit him. So we got to figure out a way. I think John Gray similar-ish pitcher, doesn't throw as hard. I'll dig into some of the numbers on John Gray, but yeah, traditionally he has owned this team, so he'll be really, really comfortable going at this lineup today.
We did get some injury updates yesterday after the day off from Mike Schilt. I'll pass those along for you, and we'll play some Take on Woods, chance to qualify for a trip to Vegas, the Rio, all coming up next with Ben Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. So we did get some injury updates from Mike Schilt after the day off before the game yesterday. If you caught those on Sammy Levitt's pregame show, some good news, especially as it relates to one Xander Bogaerts. It's Ben Woods. Welcome back. Xander Bogaerts had a CT scan on Monday, and the results were good. Doctors say he's good to go, ready to start a rehab assignment, likely in the next day or two in El Paso. And Xander thinks if all goes well, in about a week, he should be ready to come back to the Padres even before the All-Star break, possibly for that final series against the Atlanta Braves before the break.
Okay.
That was a small piece of good news that the Padres got yesterday on the injury front. You also saw Luis Camposano had his second day of rehab for the Lake Elsinore Storm, caught the game, and hit a 3-run home run from his knee.
Yeah, dropped down the old Reggie Jackson or Adrian Beltre swing, where you swing so hard you drop down to a knee. I don't recommend it. Not if you're 48.
If he can do that, the thumb seems to be feeling better. So I would imagine that you'll see Campy back with the Padres fairly soon as well. So those were the kind of good updates. There were kind of non-updates on Yu Darvish and Joe Musgrove. God, they're both throwing. Joe kind of long toss, Yu getting back into his throwing program, but no timetable yet on when that means they could return. Obviously, Joe can't come back until at least the end of July since he's on the 60-day injured list. You could come back at any time. Yu Darvish could come back. He served his 15 days, but he's going to have to probably have at least another rehab start at some point after they shut him down with the elbow soreness the first time he was coming back. From the the groin was the most recent one.
Yes,
that he was dealing with.
Calf, it was neck,
then groin, then elbow,
then elbow.
What's
next? Butt, glute.
Playing operation.
Yes. What is next?
I think kind of more hidden concern, and it's hidden because he's still playing and he's in the lineup. Manny Machado was not at third base for the third straight game yesterday and fourth time in the last 5 games after he had been out there fairly consistently.
Yeah.
I mean, they've been getting him off his feet every few days, every 3 or 4 days. They give him a DH day. Now that's 3 in a row, 4 out of 5 that Donovan Solano's been at third. Manny, of course, downplayed it, said, this is just part of the strategy to keep me as healthy as possible through the season. Obviously still dealing with the recovery from the elbow and the hip flexor injury that cost him, a few days earlier this season as well. But, I mean, you just have to wonder, okay, how is Manny really feeling? He also went 0-for-3 with 3 strikeouts yesterday.
I wonder what his somebody that's smarter than me, go look up what his splits are, position, when he DHs and when he plays third. The recency bias tells me that he's mashing a lot more when he's in that playing in the field, which doesn't surprise me at all. Luis Arias is a great hitter, said he doesn't like to DH at all. With Xander coming back, I don't know why. I'll just say it, and I'll probably get it thrown back in my face. I have a good feeling about Xander Bogaerts coming back. I don't know why I do. I just have a good feeling about it. I
can't really get any worse.
That's also true. There's nowhere to go but up.
Here are your numbers, by the way, for Manny. As a designated hitter,
am I wrong?
170 at-bats. He has a 247 average, 297 OBP, 400 slug. That's a 697 OPS with 7 homers, 23 runs batted in. As a third baseman, 138 at-bats, has a 290 average, 340 OBP, 413 slug, 753 OPS, only 3 homers, but 22 runs batted in. So he's been more productive as a third baseman. Now, he's also played more third base in the last month when he got healthy, when he was on a hot streak. I don't know if one...
That's the thing. What's the
correlation or causation?
Right.
Not sure on that one, but... And he has been hot lately. I mean, you're trying to keep his bat in the lineup as much as possible. It didn't happen yesterday, but those are the numbers that you asked for, so there they are.
Am I insane that I have a good feeling about Xander Bogaerts?
No.
I just do. I don't know why I do, but he was scuffling so badly at the beginning of the season, the position change and everything else. Being around this team, and he's stayed with the team, he's been with the team. The He was involved in all the stuff last week with the Nationals. That picture of him grabbing Manny by the face was awesome. Like, he seems very engaged. I may be an idiot, but I'll wear it if I'm wrong. I've been wrong a million times before. I feel like he's going to come back and play pretty well for us. I do. And it seems to be the healing and the mentally, like, getting that time off to say, all right, man, I'm watching these guys like grind hard to stay where they are. I want to be a part of this. I do need to be a part of it. They're counting on me. The only thing is, with him coming back, and I would imagine they'd probably be fairly, you can DH him too. As long as Manny's like playing third, you can DH him.
Well, you're going to have to rotate people around.
You are.
And if Manny needs to DH, you have a problem. Now, let me get into that. First, let me throw out the phone numbers for Take on Woods. I want to try to qualify for Las Vegas. Musical trivia coming up against Woods, 833-288-0973. Call now, 833-288-0973. So if Manny continues to have to DH on the regularly,
yes, I know it on the reg.
That means you're going to have to take either Xander, Luis Ariz, or Jake Cronenworth out of the lineup, every single day.
Which sucks.
Because you can't play all of them, or Ha-Seong Kim, but you can't play all of them every single day. You have 5 infielders who are everyday starters when Xander comes back in Manny, Kim, Xander, Jake, and Ariz.
Yep.
And one of them has to DH. 4 of them play the infield every single day. Correct? But if Manny's DHing, I guess you can move Kim to third and then Xander back to short. Do you want to do that, though? I mean, you went through all the trouble of trying to move him to second. Are you going to bounce him around to the middle of the infield? And then you say, okay, then you could put Jake at short and leave Xander at second. That seems weird. Ariz is not your best defensive player. Putting him at DH seems like your best option. Like Ariz DHing, get your best infielders all in the infield playing, but that requires everybody to be healthy enough to play the infield every single day for the most part.
Does any of this, like Xander coming back a little sooner than we may have thought originally, have any impact on Ha-Seong Kim's future?
I've been thinking a lot about Ha-Seong Kim's future with the team. And, you know, I
not advocating for it, by the way.
I saw a lot of people saying, well, trade him to this team and that team. And, you know, you have to remember,
there's no actual rumors. I know I brought it up.
No, yeah, everyone
but
is.
That's not an actual rumor that, you know, Kim is on the trade block.
Right.
But he's a free agent at the end of the year, and the trade deadline's coming up.
But it would be foolish for AJ to not at least take any calls, because this is a guy that is going to walk at the end of the year.
More than likely, yes. He's going to walk. You're probably not going to pay him what he wants. But the teams that need a shortstop are in your division. And if you want to trade Ha-Seong Kim to the Dodgers, or you want to trade Ha-Seong Kim to the Giants, perhaps, those are the teams that probably need him the most. That doesn't seem like smart business. I mean, the Giants are heating up. Giants just took 2 or 3 from the Dodgers. I believe they won again last night, if I'm not mistaken. They were leading, and I went to bed. So, yeah, I don't know that that's the smartest thing. You're not going to trade him over to a team in the AL that doesn't need a shortstop. Nobody's looking to pick up a half-season rental.
I mean, you could probably narrow
short.
down the teams. They have to be a contender, and they have to need a shortstop.
And
or a second baseman.
And, you know, Kim's defense hasn't been at its best this year at short. So maybe he does become super sub type and moves over to third, and Manny DHs. And I think that helps out a lot. And then Xander, hey, I know we just moved you 6 months ago. You're going back to short. Like, I wonder what that would do for him. I just feel like Xander's going to come back and contribute. I don't know why. I just have a gut feeling. But my gut's been wrong so many times about this team. I think everybody's guts.
I mean,
wrong.
Too many good players is a great problem to have. It just seems like a common AJ Preller theme.
Correct.
That he's got all these players and he's not sure exactly how they fit together.
Yeah.
And that's sort of where we're heading.
Yeah.
With the Padres again. Now, it doesn't have to ruin chemistry and ruin karma, but we've seen it, like, maybe doing that in previous seasons sometimes.
You already have Luis Ariz playing out of position, at least in his mind. In his mind, he has said, I'm a second baseman. I saw his clip in the locker room saying, yeah, you know.
And he really doesn't want to DH.
He does not want to DH.
But that's the best place for him.
Correct.
Given everyone performing at a regular type level.
Correct. And so now you've got, again, another guy that's kind of out of position, kind of not happy.
So Xander, Luis. I mean, Jake doesn't seem to care, which is nice. Kim, they put it short because metrically he is the best shortstop, even though he's not having a great year.
Right.
And Manny's metrics aren't great, but is he healthy enough to play third on a regular basis?
Right.
And Solano has been good enough that you want to have his right-handed bat in the lineup, at least against lefties.
That's exactly right. So, again, a little bit of Cadillac problems, but Cadillac problems are still problems.
All right, we got some callers on the line. Let's get to today's game. It is time to take on Woods. All right, Take on Woods brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. It only takes 15 minutes. You don't have to get out of your car. For directions and discounts, go to SoCalOilChange.com. That's SoCalOilChange.com. Let's go to line 3 today. Is this Christy?
Yeah, it's Christy. I forgot we were playing the game right now.
Oh, you are. All right, hang on. That's all right. If you don't want to play, we can go to James. James, are you there?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yes,
Christy passed, so that's fine. We can bring you on a little bit later, Christy. James, you are our contestant today in Take on Woods. You have an opportunity to be the first to qualify this month for our getaway to the Rio Las Vegas. 2-night stay, dinner for 2, day bed at the Rio Pool. The Rio is back, new ownership, newly remodeled rooms. Book now at RioLasVegas.com. Here are your category choices today. James, you've got Give 'Em a Hand, 5 song titles, including the word hand. We got Rush, all about the band Rush, and we've got 1984 soundtracks. So Give 'Em a Hand, Rush, or 1984 soundtracks, James?
Let's go with 84 soundtrack.
84 soundtracks. All right, this one is all about, as you can imagine, soundtracks from movies that were released in the year 1984. Really a good year for me and Woods. I'd imagine he'll do fairly well on this one. But James, you know what? If you get 5 right, you can't be stopped in Take on Woods. So good luck to you. We'll have 60 seconds to answer as many of the 5. If you don't know an answer, say pass. We'll come back to it at the end of the time. First question's the 2-second song. You need to identify the artist and the song title, which also happens to be a movie title as well, to get that one right. James, you ready to play?
Let's go.
Paul, you all queued up? All right, 60 seconds on the clock.
Let's do it.
The category is 1984 soundtracks. James, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on Woods.
Kenny Loggins, Footloose.
Correct. Ray Parker Jr. had a 1984 smash with his theme.
Ghostbusters.
Correct. Harold Faltermeyer won a Grammy for his theme named after the lead character in which Eddie Murphy classic?
The song was Axel F. for Beverly Hills
What's the
Cop.
movie? Correct. Tom Cruise dances around the house in his skivvies to Bob Seger in which 1984 coming-of-age film?
Oh. Pass.
The band Toto composed their one and only film soundtrack for which epic space classic based on a Frank Herbert novel?
Right Stuff.
Incorrect. Tom Cruise dances around the house in his skivvies to Bob Seger in which 1984 coming-of-age film?
You know it.
Oh, you know what? Woods might miss the last one, which is Dune, the original Dune. He's not going to miss Risky Business, though. James, you can hold on. 3. I don't think it's going to be good enough.
4.
I think he's going to get at least 4 here. We'll see. He doesn't get the category, but I don't know that'll make a big difference. All right, James's score is locked in. Let's reset our song, put 60 seconds back on the clock. Woods, your time begins when Paul plays the music. Good luck. Let's take on James.
That is Footloose by Kenny Loggins.
Correct. Ray Parker Jr. had a 1984 smash hit with his theme song for which summer blockbuster?
It's Ghostbusters.
Correct.
Yeah.
Harold Faltermeyer won a Grammy for his theme named after the lead character in which Eddie Murphy classic?
Beverly Hills Cop.
Correct. Tom Cruise dances around the house in his skivvies to Bob Seger in
Risky Business.
Correct. The band Toto composed their one and only film soundtrack for which epic space classic based on a Frank Herbert novel?
I love Frank Herbert.
I knew this would be the toughest one for you. I predicted this.
Tron.
Oh, good guess. No, it's Dune, the original.
Dune! Damn it.
But 4-3, as we surmised, Woods gets the win in 1984 soundtrack.
You know that Footloose is my number one movie of all time.
Is it?
It's my favorite movie.
Really good soundtrack.
Of all time.
Not just that song, but
Almost Paradise. We're knocking on heaven's door. The best.
It is a really good.
It's a great movie.
Really good music. Very good movie. Liked all those movies actually.
Yeah.
Well, Dune's. The new ones are actually better than the old one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Dune. The original Dune was kind of a flop. But I didn't know that Toto did all the music for that movie.
Either.
Yeah,
I did not either.
And then iconic Tom Cruise dancing in
the movie's awesome.
in his undies.
That movie's you son of a bitch, Folly. The immediate power down when I just take those old records off the shelf. Oh God, dude. We did like an hour on that song one time.
Yeah.
All right.
Remember
Well,
that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No qualifiers yet. We're off the next couple of days, so we'll go into next week with a fresh, clean slate on the trip for Las Vegas this month.
Yeah, buddy.
All right, we'll come back. We got Don't Do This.
All right, man. All right. I mean, I feel like I have to be very delicate with this next story, but it is a huge, huge story going on in baseball right now. And if you've seen the show Baby Reindeer, it has come to life. It has come to life in Major League Baseball. You're playing my Footloose video on our live stream. Yeah. So good.
You ripping heaters.
Ripping heaters in there. Yeah, I reenacted the scene from Footloose.
You know what? And we have to be fair in Don't Do This. We actually have an Odyssey colleague who's in the crosshairs today.
Now, out of market, Odyssey.
Not out of market.
Out of market.
It's not Chris Ello.
No, thank God.
Annie Heilbrunn.
No.
It's not. Far away from us.
This is very
a story that we can't just ignore.
No, it's very.
We got to be fair.
I mean, they would do it to us.
I would hope so. Yeah. Well, I hope we wouldn't do this.
Well, correct.
Coming up next with Ben Woods after traffic on 97.3 The Fan. Don't Do This brought to you by the Craft Taco in Sorrento Valley. The Craft Taco has some of the best quality tacos in all of San Diego. Go to thecrafttaco.com. Take a look at their happy hour specials today. Thecrafttaco.com. And just to prove we aren't Homer shills and protecting anything having to do with our own company.
The Shield.
We're throwing one of our East Coast colleagues into Don't Do This today.
Man.
Story that came out that Philadelphia radio host Howard Eskin, long time sports talker in Philadelphia WIP, which
calls
is
himself the king, by the way,
which is an Odyssey station, has been banned from Citizens Bank Park for the rest of the season after an investigation found that he had made unwanted advances toward one of the Aramark employees who works at Citizens Bank Park, the food service company that works the concession stands and the suites. We don't have now exact details of what happened.
My guess is the suite is where it was.
Other than there was an unwanted kiss involved.
Oh my God, dude!
WIP's parent company Odyssey confirmed the incident. Said they take matters of that nature very seriously. Just so we all know, they take it very seriously. And with the Phillies' approval, they've banned Howard from returning to Citizens Bank Park for the rest of the year.
Now, he's got his credential pulled, man.
But he's not being suspended. He's going to remain on the air, continuing to do his show.
Really?
Just can't go to the ballpark anymore.
Huh.
Is that enough?
I think...
I mean, they did an investigation. There's no criminal charges filed.
There's not.
I don't think so. He attempted to give a woman an unwanted kiss.
The Aramark lady.
An attempt but it's a failed attempt, apparently. Leaned in, but
that's still
it's creepy.
It's still a...
he didn't want it.
She didn't want it.
She didn't want it. Yeah, it happened in the C.P. Rankin Club, described as an exclusive area, Citizens Bank Park. Seats between the dugouts. So.
He's 72 years old.
Attempted to kiss the woman as she backed away.
Oh, my God.
Leaned in, she leaned back. No, we're not going there.
You ever
there.
gone in for the kiss and gotten rejected?
Ooh.
It's not a good feeling. I've done it.
No, I'm the one.
Like on a date.
Pulled
not
back
no.
or
Hold
just
on,
the cheek?
Not a stranger. I've never walked to somebody on the street. Hey, what's up? No?
Not
Have
the
you
vendor
ever-
at
Like a
Petco
date.
Park.
Or like
Have you ever been at, Grand Old Barbecue at the ballpark, leaned in for the kiss, and then didn't work out?
Oh,
No.
No,
Sorry, I thought there was something there. No,
I thought
no?
this
Okay.
was a connection. I guess there's not.
This is embarrassing.
Yeah, I've done it like on a date, and like the end of the date comes, and you go and they're
No.
like, oh no.
They did the back away.
Yeah, kind of the
because
back.
you can do like also they'll do the turn. Like
I've
and
had
maybe
the turn.
get the cheek.
Yeah, I've had the turn for sure. Got the cheek.
I'm the kind of guy who always waited way too long. Like,
Yeah, I see that.
what have you been waiting for? Like, I expected this like 3 dates ago.
Ben's just it's like another date with no physical contact. She's like, whenever you're ready, bud. Yeah,
polite handshake at the end of the
yeah,
date.
I've definitely done the polite handshake. But sometime like this is a good rule of thumb here from Elisa. Good rule of thumb: never kiss a random person while they're working. Absolutely, you go get a drink at a bar. Hey, thank you.
I'm going to take it a step further. Never kiss anybody when they're working, even if it's your spouse. If they're working, they're working.
Yeah,
There's other times for kissing,
That
not when someone's working.
That is, yeah, that's
I
still
don't when
sexual assault under the law.
When Shelley's working at the Seagull and she's behind the, she's in the kitchen working, I don't lean in for a kiss. It's not the time for it.
I don't go in to Hannah's open houses and try to get a kiss.
Exactly. They're working.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they're also our wives. I still get to turn away from my wife. I mean, if I'm being completely forthright, I'll still go in for one and get shunned.
Will you be banned from Petco Park for the rest of the year if that happens?
If
you try to kiss Hannah, she doesn't want it. Should Odyssey ban you from Petco Park?
She would ban me from our house, but she needs my help, so she's not going to. That's gnarly by that guy. He should be in suspended. I think at least right, some sort of punishment. Still on the air.
It's a bad look.
It is.
If you're Odyssey, if you're his boss, if you're his program director, you're like, dude.
I mean, what if he honestly totally misread the situation? Thought
That's
there
probably
was
what
something
he said.
there, and
Thought there was something there.
And then once she backed away, she go, "Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know."
This is such a sensitive story. It's hard to do.
Bro, this blew my mind.
Yeah, it was everywhere yesterday. And I got people sending it to me saying, you guys going to mention this tomorrow? I said, I read it, and I kind of looked at it, and I went, yeah, I mean, I think it's important. Player safety is massively important, whether it's, and we're talking about unwanted advances from a male. This is unwanted advances from a female, and posting things on Twitter like this. And there's a Twitter account yesterday that posted, and her handle is Bo Bichette's wife. And it's Cassie with a bunch of numbers. It says she took 3 different pictures of Bo Bichette while he was clearly adjusting his cup. Baseball players do it all the time. It's more like a tick now on the field, honestly. Like you check your cup, move it around, whatever. And that's just what we do and always have. And she tweeted 3 different times. I got him looking at me twice. He was pulling at his. Yeah, she says it calls it a
spring
pecker. It's pecker. So you know what, Bo? You're done. Tomorrow, I'm wearing my skimpiest outfit. I'm gonna tease the F out of you. See how you like it. But in other words, I can't wait to see you tomorrow, Bo Bear. And it didn't stop there. I mean, somebody like quote tweeted and said, "Hey, like this is over the line behavior." And then if you go a little bit deeper into her account, her Instagram account, I mean, it is straight up stalking of Bo Bichette. And so, yeah, I'm sure Toronto.
So is this just like a weirdo on Twitter, or is she like hanging out outside of the player exits?
She's at a lot of the games. She's taking pictures at a lot of the games. And it's like, man, that's where we all got our favorite players. We all have our favorite female players, whatever it may be. We all admire athletes, but she has crossed the line severely here. Now, the other thing is I don't know how all there she is mentally. When you see stuff like this, you're like, I don't want to make fun of somebody that has an affliction, but this has to be addressed.
Have you ever had a stalker? Being on radio and
no, not really. Not a female stalker.
No, I mean
I have men stalkers.
Like Corey Stewart and normal stalkers.
Yeah, I have normal stalkers.
Normal stalkers like Corey Stewart.
Corey Stewart. It's the normal ones. They're fine.
No, I mean I've had like dudes that had it out for me, certainly, but never anything like this. This is gnarly.
No, our stalkers are all really positive and
yeah, totally.
Mostly good guys.
Yeah, totally. So really, really creepy stuff. I mean, Bo Bichette probably finishes the game last night. He's like, why am I trending on Twitter? And you see that and you're like, oh my God. And it's her at a bunch of games, him in the background. It's pretty creepy stuff. So just mind your P's and Q's out there.
Finally, quick do this.
DD mega do-do.
Really just want to give some best wishes out to a former Ben and Woods guest who unbelievably always has a positive attitude, even though life has dealt him a number of blows in recent years. To Dick Vitale, who had cancer, came back and went through another surgery to remove a cancerous lymph node this week, but posts on social media, says, hey, gonna beat this again. He's 85 years old. Pick him, 2 thumbs up, hospital bed. Said, he's hoping for good positive results from the test and then coming forward. But the guy has, twice been diagnosed with cancer before. This is number 3. Just continues to battle. Always has a good attitude about it, even into his 80s. When we had him on before, it just seems like a really positive, great guy. Love Dick Vitale and wish him the very best.
Oh, and how about a little extra do this?
What
Jackson Merrill's just been named the Rookie of the Month, my friends. Ooh. Congratulations. There you go. Look at that.
I have the numbers for you for June. I actually put those together yesterday and didn't share them. His June was absolutely insane. Jackson Merrill went 33 for 103, 7 doubles, 9 homers, 20 runs batted in. It's a 320 average, 650 slugging, 996 OPS in the month of June, which has put him in the lead for all outfielders in the National League and wins above replacement at 2.6. Not center fielders, all National League outfielders. Go by WAR. He's been the best outfielder in the National League, even better than Jurickson.
How jarring was it to see him make an error last night?
Yeah,
jarring.
Bobbled
ball. Jarring, though. I was like, he finally, he is human after all. Guy took an extra base. Wyatt Langford, too. You don't want to do that with him, but that was wild.
When you smoke enough balls off the fence and center, eventually the center fielder is going to bobble one. You just like, okay, this is like the 9th ball I've had to pick up off the fence today.
Bro, he was running his ass off last night out in the outfield, man. Yeah, they were barreling balls.
And by the way, Jeffrey reminds everybody, There's only an hour and a half left until 9 o'clock to vote.
Vote it up.
At MLB.com/vote. The final All-Star vote, they had an update on some of the tallies yesterday. So in the outfield, Jurickson Profar is second, and Fernando Tatis is third. So technically, the Padres could get 2 starters, even though Tatis is unlikely to play. He would officially be an all-star starter. That goes down in his baseball card and record book, so you can vote for both of them. Luis Arraez was down about 10%, I think, to Ketel Marte, and Manny was pretty far behind Alec Boehm. I don't know if that one is going to change. Alec Boehm probably deserves it based on the first half of the season compared to Manny's, but please vote for Jurickson. At least get in there, make sure that he gets to go to that all-star game in a couple of weeks back in Texas, where the Padres are right now, because you only have until 9 o'clock this morning. And then this evening, I think 4 o'clock, they're going to announce the starters for the National and American League All-Stars coming up. And cross your fingers that at least Jurickson is on there for the Padres.
100%. He's got to be. He's got to be. So get your votes in. What, you just get
one vote nowadays.
Vote. Okay.
So just get your vote in today. I mean, one vote
in.
per email account. So if you want to, if you have multiple accounts like most of us do, you could get, spam emails from MLB at all your accounts going forward.
Super fun.
You can opt out. Do you ever feel like when you opt out that they don't send you those emails afterwards? Like, I do not want to receive marketing emails from you.
I click no on the boxes.
I do
make
too.
Sure that
when
I
I
don't
can't,
get
sometimes you
I don't
have to check the box to proceed.
I also feel
There's
bad.
like a contest involved.
Yeah.
They make you check the box.
I also feel bad sometimes when
And
I
then
unsubscribe.
once every
and then
like
you
6
unsubscribe.
months, I go and unsubscribe on all my junk emails.
But does it always? But I still get some of the emails even after I
I
unsubscribe.
don't think you're doing it right.
Yeah.
I don't trust them.
Nope.
All right, that's Don't and Do This for a Wednesday.
That was Don't Do This with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
All right, we got a lot of guests coming up on a Big League Wednesday, including Bret Boone, Nick Hundley. Eno Sarris is coming up later. It's going to be a busy rest of the show. Settle in. More Ben and Woods on the way on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. It's funny. We had a Beverly Hills Cop question in Take on Woods earlier.
Yeah.
And Bret Boone's coming on at the top of the hour.
Yeah.
And he chatted with Taggart.
Love him.
From Beverly Hills Cop. Today is the day that the sequel, the fourth movie, Beverly Hills Cop Actual F, hits Netflix.
I'm into it.
Are you into it?
Yeah.
Now, one was good.
One
was great.
One was great.
2 was actually not bad at all.
2 was badass.
3, I don't even remember.
It was at a amusement park.
3, I literally
It was
don't.
not
I
good.
couldn't tell you anything about it. Not even sure I've seen it.
I saw it.
I feel like I've only seen like bits and pieces of the third one.
Are we optimistic about 4 here?
No, not at all.
Everyone old?
But,
I mean, they're all coming back, though?
I did not see Judge Reinhold in it.
Okay, I never bought him as a detective, even
Really?
in Beverly Hills. That was the one thing that bothered me about the movie.
Let's see.
He was too goofy to be a cop.
Well, listen, Victor Maitland was
he's in it.
Oh, is he in it? Okay.
Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in it.
All right, yeah, I did see him in there. Victor Maitland, that guy was a stone-cold...
Great villain.
Great villain.
Great villain.
And then his henchman, the guy that rolled with him, that Axel threw over the table, electric.
I mean, Taggart, he was a cop. The boss, the captain.
Bogomil.
He was great.
Is he still alive? Because he's got to be...
Yeah, he probably not at this point.
Bogomil. He was awesome. That movie is the best.
I mean, 40 years. I doubt that.
40
It's been
years
40
ago.
years since it came out, right? 1984, so...
You're not going to fall for the banana in the tailpipe? This is my favorite. I mean, it's just such an elite movie.
I mean, we can get an update from Boone, I guess, on how Taggart's doing.
Well, I saw Taggart years ago.
He's got to be pretty old now, too.
We were at the old station, and I think it was... I don't know if the station was doing it, but, like, I think Kaplan or Brown or somebody texted me, like, hey, man, come up to Morgan's Run. There's a bunch of celebrities up here, and Taggart is here. I'm like, from Beverly Hills Cop? I'm on my way. I went up. I got a picture with him. I got to find it.
Petey says, it's a comedy movie, Ben. I get it, but all the other actors felt like pretty in place, which is why it was such a great movie.
I love Billy. I thought Billy was great. Billy Rosewood. He was fantastic. Oh, man, they take him to the strip club, you know?
He's
great.
like the Ben of cops.
He's the Ben of cops. Yeah. It was so good. So good. Yeah, I'll watch it. Probably watch it tonight. And it's probably not going to be good, but I'm into it. I love that. I loved Axel Foley. I thought he was the coolest guy ever when I was a kid.
Let's check traffic. We'll come back. It is the 4th of July holiday. For a lot of us, this is the last day of the work week. Hopefully, same out there for all the tier ones, but we'll be right back after traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Robert Half. Just a couple problems here. Traveling on the southbound 15 before Adams Avenue. Solo vehicle accident over the right shoulder embankment. Cordell and Cordell traffic cam shows a stalled pickup truck on the westbound King Freeway North 805 connector ramp. It's over to the right shoulder. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben and Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
9 out of 10 hiring managers are having difficulty hiring. Robert Half is here to help. Our recruiting professionals utilize an award-winning AI to connect businesses with highly skilled talent. At Robert Half, we know talent. Visit roberthalf.com/talent today.
Now's your turn.
Thank you. I mean, you never really grow out of the 4th of July. It's always fun to barbecue and watch some fireworks, but my kids are older. It's not quite the obsession. Your kids are still, I mean, what are you planning tomorrow?
We're going to go to a drone show instead of of fireworks. They do the Big Bay Boom and all that, and I'm into it. I mean, I'm into it except for, hey, you got to go down at 4 a.m. and grab a spot. Like that's you know me. I'm not doing it.
My first year in radio, working in promotions, I was there all day long.
I bet, dude. I bet it.
105.7 Max FM was the soundtrack for the Big Bay Boom.
That wasn't the one, the Big Bay Bust, was it?
No.
No, that's the most memorable one ever. Remember the year when all of the fireworks went off at the same moment?
Cool.
Bro, they put us in like Ubers to get down there at like 5 a.m.
Yeah.
Fireworks were like at 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, you got to go and reserve. People are they're probably reserving it like tomorrow. Or what's today? The 3rd?
Today.
They're
Like
reserving
tonight.
it tonight, camping out down there. I mean, I like fireworks. So I've seen enough to know then I'm not going to go to a fireworks show that makes me go, ooh, like I've never seen it before.
Now, drone show, though, you might.
Now, a drone show. I'm excited. So we're excited about that. We're going to the drone light show. I think it's better for the kids. It's a little scary, the loud booms and all that. And I mean, I played with fireworks so much as a kid.
Yeah, it's basically like an equivalent to symbolism for war.
You're right.
The rocket's red glare.
It's scary.
It's kind of scary. Yeah.
And of course, remember, if you have pets, it's the worst night of the year for them. The ones that go off in the neighborhood at like midnight, those are the ones that make me insane.
Those M80s.
Yeah, the M80s. Bam! You're like,
or the ones
right.
that make the screeching noise.
Yeah. But I mean, where I grew up.
Do that again. Sounds like a cat.
It did sound like a cat. Where I grew up in Texas. I mean, Ben, I was like 8 in the backyard, like, watch this. Like, it was just a part of my youth. And there were stands on every single corner, and you would come home with bags. My parents, actually, they had a lake house later in life, and this was out in a little town called Tool, Texas. And you can only imagine the fireworks stands.
Tool?
Tool. And you go out there in Tool, Texas. It's right next to Gun Barrel City, by the way. That's a true story. And you go out there, you're like, yeah, I'll spend $200. And you come home, and my dad would just shake his head. My brother and I out there, 14 Coors Lights deep, woo, lighting them, and they just go up and into the lake and everything else. It's terrible.
This is how we get a Jason Pierre-Paul situation
exactly,
as well.
Bro. I was so scared after a while. When that story came out, when he blew his fingers off, I was like, I think I may be done with the old fireworks for now. It just doesn't have the appeal to me that it did when I was a kid. But we used to do, we've told the story before, the Roman candle wars on a tennis court. You everyone's holding Roman candles, shooting them at each other, and you're jumping out of the way. And I mean, it's very
like
dangerous
dodgeball,
stuff.
but
Dodgeball
with explosives.
with Roman candles.
Yeah, it's smart, safe.
And I really now that I sit here today, having gotten through it, I don't regret any of it. It was a lot of fun.
I was a very nervous child.
Shocked.
The only firework I would ever do, the sparklers. And I would definitely drop it before it even came close.
The poppets. So you never like lit like the big bottle rockets or the tubes. I mean, there's tubes that are the size of this thing filled with gunpowder and everything else, and you're like, all right, bro, light it. You run away. The worst is when it would tip over, and you never knew it was going to go. It was so dangerous.
And of course, living here, I mean, we've seen about a dozen wildfires this week. You do that, and you're not careful, you're going to start a fire. We've got a record heat wave expected for this weekend. So the last thing we need is people lighting things on fire in San Diego and burning the entire city down as well.
Yeah, it's pretty nuts.
Is that the Big Bay bust?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Kevin said there's someone out there in the U.S. that doesn't know they won't have 10 fingers on Friday. Yeah, that's exactly right. And probably somewhere in Arizona, Texas, somewhere like that. It just goes nuts. So, yeah, I think the drone show is going to be cool. I think they're going to like it. And it's a little bit more low-key.
I was talking to my wife about it. Local, grew up in San Diego. I moved here in 2009, and for the first 19 years of my life, the 4th of July was like my favorite holiday.
Yeah.
Summer, up in Washington, if you didn't have a lake house, somebody had a lake house.
It's the Wild West.
Somebody had a boat. You could go to like the reservation and get the really good fireworks. You could light them off in front of your house on your street.
On your street.
You can't, and like I moved down here, and it's like, if everybody did that, San Diego would burn to the ground.
It would burn to the ground.
And I get that. And then Megan was like, yeah, everybody would just go to the beach when you could drink on the beach. Yeah. That got outlawed. Like, I'm not going to the beach. I'm not going to sit in traffic for 3.5 hours, park a mile away from the beach. Like, it's a nightmare going to the beach now before.
I think it's a competing news station that always goes down and does the Big Bay Boom. You don't have to do that, which is good, because they'd send you down there.
They would.
No.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
For
I can see them
12 hours.
Totally
shift.
telling me, Ben, we're going to need to anchor the fireworks coverage again on the 4th of July.
What do you
Hi, I'm Ben Higgins.
What do you say?
Along with Kimberly Hunt, and we're here for the Big Bay Boom. No,
We are here.
I'm more than happy letting another station take
3
care of that.
3 hours to go until the Big Bay Boom.
What's your least favorite 4th of July barbecue side dish?
Beans.
Beans.
Baked beans.
Oh, for me, it's the macaroni salad.
Oh, I love mac salad.
I hate macaroni
you're out of your
salad.
mind.
It's gross.
Love.
Cold
Oh, yeah.
noodles
Oh,
with
yeah.
mayonnaise.
Delicious.
It's horrible.
Absolutely
it's the worst
delicious.
thing. That's the worst thing possible.
The best is like a burger, a dog, potato salad, mac salad.
I also
iced tea,
don't
watermelon.
I don't like watermelon either.
Oh,
Mind.
just bought some yesterday.
Remember when they used to have seeds in them? They
Yeah.
were black and you had to spit them out?
Yep.
They've
It's called GMO, buddy. Genetically
that
modified.
stopped happening.
Yeah,
at
you
some
know what?
point.
Do whatever you got to do to me. As long as there's no seeds in my watermelon, I'm fine. I love the 4th of July, too. I think
And they just went away one year.
Yeah.
It's like, when I was growing up, they had seeds, and then now they don't.
deviled eggs. Deviled eggs, so
I
good.
like deviled eggs.
So good. Frijoles in the chat says, thanks for the shout-out, Woodsy. I actually meant baked beans, buddy, not you, my friend.
You know, we played the video
But
of the
I don't
Big
want
Band blast.
I don't want beans at my
Burger or
barbecue.
hot dog?
Both. One of each.
Both. Well,
Yeah, one of each.
That's the cop-out answer.
No, you got to have one of each.
If you had to choose, though.
Oh, burger.
See, now, I always would choose burgers, but on the 4th of July, because of the, hot dog eating contest, hot dog seems appropriate on the 4th of July.
That's fair. That's fair. I'm excited for it. I mean, we're doing a staycation, so we're just going to be chilling anyway. But yeah, it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. I like the 4th of July. Our nation's independence.
The video that goes around every year that murders me is the aerial footage over Los Angeles on the 4th of July. Ever seen that? Like,
No.
there's the fireworks shows from all over the city,
everywhere?
from like a helicopter.
And you get high up and you're above like 70 of them at the
they
same
are
time.
going.
yeah.
It's
going
nuts.
Yeah, it's listen, be careful out there. All right, you can get in a lot of trouble for buying illegal fireworks. I've heard a lot. So be careful out there. Please don't light them off my neighborhood. Can't stand it.
It's a Big League Wednesday. Bret Boone is going to join us when we come back. Second half of Ben and Woods on the way on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
All right, my friends, halfway home on a Wednesday. Ben and Woods, 97.3, The Fan. Phenomenal to be here with you this morning. Looks like it's shaping up to be a very beautiful day outside. We are very, very lucky. We know that. I'm Woodsy. That's Paul Reindl, the executive producer. Ben Higgins, your friendly neighborhood sports anchor, joins us as well. And got a very special guest joining the program.
Yeah, got a busy hour coming up. Don't forget, 8:35, Nick Hundley is going to be with us, former Padres catcher, now special assistant for the Texas Rangers. But right now, it is always a pleasure to welcome our Odyssey colleague, Odyssey MLB insider Bret Boone. Insider calls are presented by Grainger with supplies and solutions for every industry. Grainger has the right product for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Bret, also the host of the Bret Boone podcast, which we were just talking about, featuring notable names in MLB and more every single week.
Now, I wonder if he gets grief like we get grief when we do the more. You know, like how we stick to sports. Shut up. Right? Does Bret Boone get the same stuff? Do they just want baseball content from you, Bret?
This isn't Lou Piniella.
Yeah, exactly. Like you just had on your podcast a dude I love, John Ashton. He played Taggart in Beverly Hills Cop. He's been in a bunch of stuff, man. So many movies, long storied Hollywood career, and I love that. I like to see you going outside the box there.
You know, you got to do it once in a while, don't you, Woodsy? I mean, you go with Taggart. Who knows who's going to be maybe the San Diego Chicken tomorrow? We don't know.
You do never know. How was John? I'm gonna go listen to that podcast because we were just all talking about how much we love the original Beverly Hills Cop. They got the new one coming out today on Netflix. I will 100% stop down and watch that at some point this weekend.
Yeah, Johnny's great. I've known John for a lot of years. I remember I was a rookie in the big leagues, and we were in Minnesota, and they were shooting this movie. And I think Randy Johnson at the time and Griffey had bit roles, and it was the movie Little Big League.
Little Big League, excellent movie.
Johnny was the bench coach.
Yep.
And I remember, I'm just a kid, and I'm just, I'm trying. I don't know whether I'm coming or going, but we got this big Hollywood set, and I see Taggart, and I'm like, oh, that's Taggart. So I started calling him Taggart. He's like, well, no, my name's John.
Pretty good punch you got there, Taggart.
We went out on the town, and then, I got to know him a little bit. Years later, I was in San Diego, and I come into we're coming to play the Padres. I'm with the Reds, and I walk through the bar, and, the team bus just got there. I'm walking through the bar to get to my room. There's Taggart with all the boys, and they're shooting a movie. I said, listen, let me go put my stuff down. I'll come back down, I'll have a drink, and we'll catch up. And I get down there. He's like, yeah, we're shooting a movie downtown. I think they were shooting in Mission Bay. And the producer wants to know, Boone, if we get 7 tickets tomorrow.
7.
And I said, well, here's the deal. Let's negotiate a little bit. I said, I need a role in this movie you're producing. And he said, well, what do you want to do? I said, I just want something stupid. I said, but I need it. And here's what I need. When I get to the set, I need a trailer. I don't care how small it is. I need my name outside the trailer. I need a star next to my name. And sure enough, next day, I go down to Mission Bay.
You're kidding.
I got this trailer. It's as big as a shoebox. It's got my name written in Sharpie, and there's a star on it. I said, hey, we negotiated. I got what I wanted. I played a cop. I had the vinyl uniform that cops wear, and I had this terrible role, but it was fun. I got to see how it works. I drove this old cop car down the street, and Johnny was the star. He got out. He was the undercover cop. He had the cool clothes on. I've got this linen 1976 cop outfit on, but that's where our relationship goes back to. Great guy.
What movie?
He's over the top excited about this. I think it's one of those went straight to video. It's called Fast Money.
Fast
you look
Money, starring Bret Boone.
I'm all over.
And I'll tell you what, you'd have to.
It's streaming somewhere. It's got to be.
Yeah, you'd have to rewind it and rewind it again to find out that is Boone in the cop car.
That's unbelievable.
Crazy.
Man.
I just pulled it up. Yeah, when a car thief can't resist stealing one more car, she finds herself in possession of $2.7 million mob money and the mob's counterfeit printing plates.
Bret Boone, the cop.
1996.
Check it out. I'm in the clown. There's a clown scene. Just Google clown scene, and I'm the guy driving
the cop car.
Cop car. Oh, it's classic.
Crazy.
I'm all over it.
So as long as we're on the topic, what is your favorite baseball movie? And like big leaguers?
Yeah,
what
what
do they really like when it comes to baseball movies? Because we always have this discussion.
Well, I don't know if I'm more cynical than your normal big leaguer, but movies, baseball movies drive me crazy.
So yes, you are
hypersensitive. I just look at it and I go, "That's not how it really is." You know, these producers, what do? Oh, let's just put tobacco in everybody's mouth and have them spit, really awkwardly because they're actors and they've never had tobacco in their mouth. And that's what ball players do, right? Oh, it drives me nuts.
The ghosts don't come out of the corn. That's not how it works.
Oh, it drives me crazy. Okay, if I'm going to be honest, the most accurate portrayal of a baseball movie I've seen by far is Bull Durham, as far as how the minor leagues actually are, with a few caveats. There's one scene where they pull in and then he says, "Hey, you guys want to rain out tomorrow?" And they go there in the evening and they flood the valley.
Yeah. Right.
It doesn't happen because you never get to a minor league city the night before because they're not going to whip out for the hotel room. So you're always getting there in the morning. You'll never get to a minor league city. So that pissed me off. All right. So other than that, though, I thought it was pretty good. I thought Costner. You know what bothers me more than anything? The way that the actors move as athletes.
Yeah,
it's not a real move. They don't move correctly. So that bothers me.
Yeah,
but
Tim Robbins. Tim Robbins can't throw a baseball.
Dennis Haysbert as Serrano in Major League had a pretty decent power swing.
Well, and Sheen looked like he knew how to pitch.
Yeah, he did. But you know what? You either got to go. You got to look exactly the part, or you got to go Tim Robbins. You got to go Robbins on me, which is it's so unbelievable that it's funny because it's so far the other way. So I'm going to go with either or. I thought Costner did a pretty good job. I thought he walked all right. I thought he moved pretty good. Swing wasn't bad at all. So I'm going to give it a thumbs up. Bull Durham I thought was well done. But if you're going to go my favorite movie, it's the Bad News Bears without a doubt.
So good.
Nothing's even close. Mathau in his day. I love Bad News Bears and Breaking Training too. So those are my top three.
Oh, I love that. Talking to Bret Boone here on Ben and Woods this morning. And you have been busy. I was just looking at your Twitter. So you were just on in Dallas talking about the Rangers last night with the fan there, RJ Choppy and his group. And now you're on talking about the Padres. I said this morning, Booney, that last night's game was kind of one of those where, man, I was talking about that nobody likes a loss. If you're a fan of a team, you hate all losses. Right. But there's some that you're like, all right, I'll wear that one. That's fine. Last night was just, I appreciate a good pitching performance as well as anybody, but man, just a two-hit shutout. It's just so painful to watch. And the San Diego Padres just kind of look like they never got off the plane yesterday. And I know those days happen, certainly, but definitely not a fun, kind of what we're not used to that from this team lately.
No, and Cease had a rough night, and but anytime you get one of those number one stopper type starters in Eovaldi, that can happen, and you just chalk it up to that was just one night, bad night. Let's go get them tomorrow. I'm really impressed with this Padres team's doing, especially with they've been really banged up lately. I mean, Camposano, he's coming back. Bogaerts, I heard, is doing a rehab this week. Tatis is not going to be back till after the break, and the two huge ones are Musgrove and Darvish. Darvish out much longer than we thought he was going to be. He goes out with the leg injury, and now there's inflammation in his elbow. Musgrove, they're talking possibly August now. So the fact that you've held serve and are really playing some of the best baseball they've played, winning 7 out of their last 10, I think the Padres in the position they're in the playoffs right now, as it stands, if it were over today, with all the injuries and everything going on with the Padres right now, to be playing the way they are and be in the playoff hunt, I think is a testament to them and their resilience. They're starting to trend up. They're in top categories, all the offensive categories. Need to pitch a little bit better, but getting Musgrove and Darvish, that's huge. I think this Padre team at the break, I think you're going to have to go out because of that, because of the Musgrove, and it's touchy. And now they're finding, a bone chip. I think you're going to need another pitcher. I think you're going to have to go out there and get another pitcher. I love the bullpen. I love how it sets up to get to Suarez, but I think you're going to have to get a pitcher. I think this Padre team is a playoff team. And I was just talking, you mentioned the Texas show I was just on. I've been thinking a lot about it in the game today and the 162 and how it used to be versus 2024, where it's not that marathon it used to be. We used to finish that 162, and if you won the division, it was a big sigh, like, wow, what a grind, and we're standing right now. Today, it's not like that. There are so many injuries in the game today, and injuries play such a big role in streaks that teams go on, or teams have a losing streak or a winning streak because a couple of their big guys are out. Injuries are playing a bigger role than they've ever played in our game. And I think what you do is it's all about positioning yourself, getting a seat at the table, not necessarily the division where it used to be, hey, we got to win that division. Yeah, as a player, you're always going to have that mindset of, no, we're going to win the division and we're going to get home field advantage. But it's all about getting a seat at that table and trying to get your roster in the right spot going into the postseason, because that's what's important now. And there's so many landmines in the postseason. You got to go through so many rounds just to get to the World Series. So I don't think it's about necessarily the best team you're going to see going forward winning that World Series. It's who positioned themselves at the right time, who stayed healthy, and who got on a run is going to be your World Series champion going forward, and not the old days where that guy that was standing at the top of the hill at the end of 162 usually went on and won that World Series. I don't think that's going to be the case anymore. It's just getting a seat at the table and getting the right time.
Talking to Odyssey MLB insider Bret Boone. Again, Insider Calls presented by Grainger, with supplies and solutions for every industry. Grainger is the right product for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Bret, I wanted to ask you about Bruce Bochy, manager of the Rangers now. Obviously, you played for him. I know you love Boch because everybody loves Boch. I love Boch. I love covering him, everything about him. But what is it? Because Bruce Bochy has had a bunch of bad seasons in his managerial career. This one, I don't know how it's going to turn out, but obviously the Rangers have gotten off to a really slow start. But when he's had those chances with the Giants, with the Rangers, even taking the Padres to the World Series, he always seems to get the most out of the teams that do have those opportunities, the ones that are there. What is it about Boch and about good managers that just that little bit extra that they get the most out of their best teams?
Than everybody else. I hate Boch. I don't like him. He's not a good guy. No, he is. Okay. What I want to say at first is the manager can only do so much, and that's obvious. I year in and year out, I see it. Oh, that manager's not doing good. He doesn't, he doesn't make the right. That's nonsense. Once the national anthem ends, there's only so much you can do. You can get the lefty up, get the righty up, whatever. Handle the media. A computer can do that. The great managers, I think, are people. They manage people. They're like a great CEO. Doesn't mean everybody's got to love you. Doesn't mean everybody's got to hate you. You have a knack. You have a way about you. You got that it factor where you get the best out of your players. You put your players in the best position to succeed. Bochy is a little beyond that for me. He's a great manager, but he's got that factor where, I always think as a manager, you've got to separate yourself from the players. And usually that's via bench coach, who is kind of the go-between between the manager and the players. I think as a bench coach, you're the player's buddy. Everybody's your friend. You get intel, you go around, you make sure everybody's feeling okay. And you can have that closer relationship with the player. As a manager, I always thought you got to distance yourself a little bit because he's going to be making big decisions. He's going to piss you off at some point in the season. Who knows? He might be the one that has to tell you you're going to AAA. He might have to be the one telling you we traded you. So I think there's a buffer in between. Bochy, different than anyone I ever played for. He had a real close relationship with the players, which I thought was kind of taboo, but it worked for him. He's just a special guy that, you mentioned Ben, that nobody has anything bad to say about Bochy. There's only a handful of people I've come across in my career where that's the case, and it is the case. I don't think everybody says everybody loves him. Well, truly, everybody that has ever met Bruce Bochy, I really haven't ever heard a negative word about him. He's got that. He's a great manager. He's a baseball man. He's a knowledgeable man. He was a backup catcher, so he knows the grind of a season. It didn't come easy to him, so he has that perspective. But he's also got a fatherly, best friend, grandfather type appeal to people where you just love him. He's kind of like a Dusty Baker. Everybody loves Dusty. He's just got that way about him, and he has that ability to also be close with the players, but still be their disciplinary guy and still be a guy. I think because everybody that comes in contact with him, they just have that level of respect, kind of above and beyond. So he's that unicorn. I think when it comes to managers, he's last of that probably old school breed that we grew up watching. And he's just a special man. And I really can't put my finger on why he's able to do that. But he's been the one manager that I play for that, man, I could play for. I could go 0 for 4 with a couple punch-outs, make an error in a big situation. And after the game, he was my buddy for some reason. And he didn't make it an awkward feeling. It's a special thing that he was born with that not too many people have.
Boone, always appreciate it. We thank you so much for making time and so much that you have throughout the season. We will chat with you again coming up after the holidays.
You got it.
Thanks, brother.
Bret Boone, always our Insider Calls presented by Grainger. Supplies and solutions for every industry. Grainger has the right product for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. We've got to take a quick time out. Can we talk a little bit more about Bochy when we come back? Just because I thought Bret Boone had some interesting insight there. Got Nick Hundley at the bottom of the hour as well, so you don't want to miss any of that.
You can ask him about Bochy, too.
Absolutely. Another guy who played for Bochy. Another catcher who played for Bochy there as well.
Works with him now.
And works with the Rangers at the moment. So we'll get to all that after Kelly's Traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Baseball coverage on 97.3 The Fan is presented by T-Mobile. Switch to T-Mobile. You can get tons of benefits, still save on every plan versus AT&T and Verizon. Use their savings calculator to find how at T-Mobile.com/switch. Our thanks again to Bret Boone, our Odyssey insider. And I was fascinated with him talking about what separates Bruce Bochy. So question for you. Boch has 26 full seasons under his belt as a big league manager. This is his 27th year. Do you think Boch has more winning seasons or losing seasons as a manager?
Well, because you're asking me, I'm going to say losing.
Well, you know me pretty well.
I know you very well.
It's actually 13 and 13.
Okay.
He's got 13 winning seasons, 13 losing seasons, and an overall record. He's about 15 games under 500 in his entire career, like 2,130-something wins, 2,140-something losses.
Yeah, he was here for a while.
But he also had a bunch of losing seasons in San. He won 3 World Series titles. He also had 7 losing seasons in San Francisco. Wow. It's not just the time with the Padres. Boch is an undoubted Hall of Famer, right? I mean, slam dunk.
Slam dunk.
When he retires, he is going to the Hall of Fame as a manager in baseball. No one has any question about that.
None.
He has a losing record, and if they don't turn it around this year, he's going to have more losing seasons than winning seasons. And this is the cream of the crop. This is the best, of the best. This is a guy who will be talked about with Joe Torre and some of the legendary managers of baseball, the guys who have done it better than anyone. And even he can't overcome rosters that don't have enough talent, injuries, whatever. And you are always saying you put it on the players more than the manager. Is that not the perfect example that even Bruce Bochy, the guy that everyone in baseball admires, respects, agrees is a Hall of Famer, has 4 World Series rings now, he still doesn't even have a winning record in this game because it's that hard to do it, especially if you don't have the players.
Yeah, I mean it's that's why. Yeah, you're right. That's why I do always kind of put it on the players, and really the GM, of course, gets a lot of credit, takes a lot of the blame for the players that you can only get so much out of guys, and you look at a guy like Kevin Cash, and I think he's a really good manager as well. Never had a high payroll to work with. You wonder would Kevin Cash, if you stuck him in New York managing the Mets, would he be as good? Would he be the same? Bob Melvin was so good with those young, talented Oakland A's teams. He gets here. There's the open checkbook. Doesn't actually do that great. Gets us further than we've gone in a while, but ran out of pitching then too. And how much credit should he get? How much blame should he get? The person that's always quickest to blame the manager or the hitting coach, I've always looked at that person and said, man, a hitting coach, it can only take you so far. A manager can only take you so far. You have to execute. You do, and personal responsibility is really quite a thing in the game of baseball.
I mean, I look at Boch's career, and he's truly only had probably about 7 really good teams.
Yeah,
and he turned 4 of those into World Series titles. He turned one of them into a World Series appearance with the Padres in '98. The other ones, I would say, '96 Padres were really good. Obviously, they lost right away in the playoffs. I think the 2006 Padres, his last season, they won 88 games, but lost that stupid series to St. Louis to start the playoffs. And they had another decent Giants team in 2016, but 87 wins. And then the Rangers won that he just had.
Yeah.
The rest of them, he's had tons of mediocre teams that just weren't that good.
Yeah.
But when he had the chance, he got the most out of him in October.
So he's what, 4 for 5 in the World Series? Is that right?
He's 4 for 5 in the World Series. Yeah. And in the playoffs, he's only 9 playoff appearances in 26 years.
Wow, man.
But 4 of them ended in World Series titles.
That's the dream right there. And yeah, I mean, and if you asked him, if you gave him truth serum, like, what do you do differently? He'd be like, I don't know.
That run in San Francisco
was nuts,
will
dude.
boggle my mind maybe forever.
Yeah.
I was living, my college roommates were all from the Bay Area.
Yeah.
Massive Giants fans. And just the fact that they would win the World Series, miss the playoffs.
Yes.
Win the World Series,
miss
terrible year. Win the World, like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
And now it's kind of happening in Texas.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Could the exact same
Won the
thing
World Series,
could happen.
Might miss the playoffs.
I've always gotten the sense of, I've known a lot of of people that played for him. Know a lot of people that have worked with him. Met him a couple times. I've heard a million stories about him. You get the sense, though, he's not. When Boone compared him to Dusty Baker, I don't think the comparison was like they're the same type of manager. They have the same type of stature, but Dusty Baker's a high energy, at the end, chewing on the toothpick, ready to go. Boch is like, all right, whatever. Just and it's almost, you look at him and go, do you do, like, what do you do? He's just chill. Like, he's just a chill guy. Like, he's not a high energy pacing back and forth. Like, let's go. He's not a rah-rah guy. Just guys, for whatever reason.
I'd say you can go get him.
So
yeah, he's just a guy you want to play for.
He does what the greatest leaders do. He makes you feel disappointed if you don't come through for him.
Yes, dude.
Not through anything he really does. It's just like, I don't want to let Boch down.
100%.
Because I like him so much.
Yeah.
And that's all he really has to do.
That's exactly
He's
right.
there, and it's like, everyone else just decides, I better play well because Boch is here.
I mean, bro, you think about, like, what would he have done with the Padres of the last couple of years? I don't know. I mean, I thought Bob Melvin was the absolute solution. Hands off, players manager, let them do it. Brilliant psychologist.
Probably
brilliant,
nothing different.
Brilliant community. Nothing.
I don't think there would have been much different.
I don't think so either.
Well, we got another guy who played for Boch, and Nick Hundley is going to join us. He's also a special assistant to Chris Young, the GM of the Texas Rangers. We'll catch up with Hundley when we return with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Happy Boch Day, everybody.
Said last night on Channel 10 that the Texas Rangers haven't exactly looked like defending World Series champions this year until last night, when they very much looked like the defending World Series champions. They did it without Corey Seager. They did it with a great pitching performance by Nathan Eovaldi, and they just beat up on Dylan Cease. We've got Nick Hundley standing by. He's special assistant to Chris Young, former Padres catcher, going to join us right after this check of traffic on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by SDG&E. Couple of problems along the 805. One is a hit-and-run accident northbound side before Governor. No details as to whether that is blocking lanes. Southbound side of the 805 before Sorrento Valley Road. We have reports of a stalled car in the center divide. In peak wildfire season is a last resort. SDG&E may need to shut off power in specific areas for public safety. Learn more about public safety power shutoffs at sdge.com/PSPS. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
Yeah, I've told you, Woods, that in my now, 25, almost 30 years covering the Padres, there have been certain players that I've always been kind of nervous about approaching for interviews and in the clubhouse. Our next guest is not one of them. I always enjoyed conversations with Nick Hundley. He just was really friendly. He's just more approachable than most. And I want to say thank you to Nick. I appreciated that when he was a player, and now he's joining us right now here on Ben & Woods on 97.3 The Fan. Hi, Nick. How are you?
Hey, what's up, guys? I hope I don't blow that cred with this interview.
Oh, I have no worries. You're gonna be just fine.
How about when you were playing, Nick? What was the worst thing that media did? Like, what was the worst question that they asked you? Was it the, hey, what were you looking for on that pitch, or was it the, tell us about your approach there? Because I watch those, and it still happens, like on a regular basis, and I'm just like, well, obviously he's looking for a pitch to hit, something to drive, out of the ballpark, and his approach was to look for a pitch to hit and drive something out of the ballpark, I guess, right?
Yeah, yeah, it'd be tough because there was times when you'd play, early in the series, you'd be playing the Dodgers, and you're playing the Dodgers next week, and then you're playing them 18 more times. They're like, hey, what were you looking at for against Chad Billingsley? He's like, well, I'm going to face Chad Billingsley four or five more times this year, so I'm not going to answer that truthfully.
I'm not going to tell you anything. No, Ben, certainly we have gone through the people that Ben was scared of. Andy Ashby was probably at the top of the list for some reason. He's like the nicest dude ever, but Ben was terrified of him. But he always said, yeah, you were really,
had
really
a sneer after the games. It just kind of was off-putting. I don't know.
He's great. Some guys look, man. Some guys get it, and some guys don't. Some guys get the job, and some guys don't want to be bothered by slappies like us in there.
Nah, it's definitely part of the job for sure. So you know what you're signing up for.
So tell me about the job right now with the Texas Rangers and working with CY as general manager. Obviously, last year was just an unbelievably magical season. But what would you say? What are you kind of doing, and what's your role right now with the Rangers?
Yeah, right now it's a lot of draft stuff. I'll be with a team in Anaheim and then go back to Dallas for the draft and, just work through some of the catchers that we're looking at, some of the amateur guys. I've probably seen about 8 to 10 guys live and just kind of in our little pocket. And, I really enjoy that side of it now with how important the draft is. You look at, you can look at what the Padres are doing with Jackson Merrill, and then that same draft class, they draft James Wood and Gasser, and all of a sudden you look up and you've got a guy who's potentially the rookie of the year and 2 guys you traded for generational talent. So it's pretty fun month of July. So with the draft and the trade deadline, so this is really, really busy for me. And then just give my opinion and then head back to San Diego.
Yeah, it's kind of the best of both worlds, I would imagine, for an ex-player with a family. Talking to Nick Hundley here on Ben & Woods this morning. I ran into you over at the Play Structure, and we were talking about that. And, I can't imagine, for Boch, I know it was hard for him. He was like, I don't know if I'm ready to go back and do this everyday grind. I can't imagine having to, be with the team every day when you got a young family at home. And I think this feels like, for you, a really, really good fit.
Yeah, I'm fortunate, and even the guys in Dallas too. Chris does a really good job of fostering community and fostering the importance of family. I mean, he has 3 awesome kids. He loves his family, loves to be around them. Hires guys like Bochy and Will Venable and things like that foster the love that they have for their families too, and build that community that way. So to be able to be a dad and still be involved and have a voice, and be able to give my opinion and connect with CY and the rest of our front office group, that's been amazing. So I'm very thankful the last 2 years to be able to do this for sure.
Do you think this is Chris Young's calling as general manager? I always thought he might be the next commissioner of baseball.
Yeah, we all did.
Someday as well, after working in the office. He may be too even-minded and for that job at this role. But tell me just a little more about CY and what you think of him and what his future is in store.
Oh, I think CY can do whatever he wants to do. I think he's proven that in this short time. Going from the league office to running a team to win a World Series in a short time. And obviously he's not the only one involved. There's a lot of foundation laid by John Daniels and the group in front of him. But Chris is just a different type of leader. He can connect with people in A-ball. He can connect with ownership. He can connect with people doing ticket sales, security guards. He just has a real respect for people and serves people really well and has high standards. So, I mean, I can tell you stories for days about playing with Chris and the standards that he had in getting himself ready, and the standards that he had for his teammates and getting them ready, and what he needed out of people around him, what he needed out of me catching him. I learned a lot. I was really, really fortunate coming up with guys like Trevor Hoffman and Greg Maddox and CY and David Eckstein and those types of guys that showed me how to prepare and actually be a big leaguer and what an actual day looked like in the big leagues before the game and after the game. And he was the top of that list. So I learned more about preparing to play a Major League Baseball game from Chris Young than anybody, which is pretty interesting to say because as a starting pitcher, that's not usually the case.
That's pretty incredible stuff. Talking to Nick Hundley here on Ben and Woods this morning, and I kind of at the beginning of the year we do the normal sports radio thing, and all right, where do you think everybody's going to finish? And I had the Rangers, the hangover, the World Series hangover, certainly real. And Ben was going over some of the numbers yesterday before the series started, and said, I really can't put my finger on why they haven't played as well as maybe they should have.
He's not getting on base.
He's not getting on base right now, but man, you got some good young talent. Wyatt Langford's one of my favorite players to watch. I watched him hit for the cycle the other night. I'm like, what an absolute beast he is. And Corey Seager, of course, I mean, gold standard type player, World Series MVP, an absolute force. Adolis Garcia, I love. My kids love him. Like, what a good team that you guys have put together. Just hasn't materialized yet. And I think there's still plenty of time to turn it around. But what have you kind of seen?
Yeah, I think all of those things are true. I think we've been banged up. I think Josh Young has played 3 games for us, 4 games for us, and the way that he was, I mean, starting the All-Star game last year, he would have probably been, I would say, he probably won the Rookie of the Year if he didn't break his thumb last year. Obviously, Gunnar Henderson's an amazing player too, so nothing to take away from him, but I would have voted for him if he was able to stay healthy. So he's an absolute all-star star in this game. Not having him, not having Evan Carter, who burst on the scene. Talking about drafts coming up, the second-round pick from the Rangers a couple years ago, and then having a little bit of underperformance at times, guys fluctuating a little bit. There was about a month period where kind of everybody wasn't hitting on all cylinders, which, it happens sporadically through the year, but when it's a concentrated point where a lot of guys aren't, makes it a little tougher to win. But, the way that we've been taking at bats the last couple of weeks has been a lot more in line with who we are. And that's really encouraging. Like you look at the game last night, Dylan Cease throwing 98 with 2 really good breaking balls, and we were able to not expand and take pitches at the margins and win those pitches and getting good counts. And thankfully we did some damage on some mistakes, but you only do that if you take those marginal pitches. And for a guy who strikes out 200 guys a year, to take those marginal pitches against is really, really tough. So that was an encouraging sign.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun for us too, Nick, watching that game.
First
That
one
was super fun.
That first marginal pitch to Nathaniel was strike 3.
Yes, it was,
marginal
man.
pitch,
Come
but
on.
whatever, it's fine.
You still got to score to win,
I don't know
though.
why he threw him that change up after that. That's all right. We don't need to relitigate yesterday's game. We're talking to Nick Hundley, Ranger Special Assistant, former Padre. And you mentioned doing some scouting now of young catchers. You were obviously a top young catching prospect, a second-round draft pick when you came out. And I don't know how much film you've seen, but I was wondering if you had any perspective from outside the Padres organization on Ethan Salas, someone who we keep hearing about, and you know, they just talk about what amazing skills he's got for a 17-year-old kid, you know, playing in high A, went to Double A for a little while last year, but kind of struggling offensively, maybe expected. What's the talk around the league about Ethan Salas?
Yeah, he's impressive. You know, actually, one of our Bret Bochy is working with the Rangers now as a scout, and he covers a lot of the West Coast. So I talked to him a lot, and then you know, I know Riley Westman for a long time, a couple of years now. Talking to him about Ethan too. He can really, really catch and really throw. And the thing that I love, you know, the thing that I love about catchers, I love watching their pace and their heart rates. And when there's big situations, I was fortunate to play with Buster Posey for 2 years. I feel like I saw the game speed up on him one time in 2 years. Like, his just heart rate, and he just played with his pace where he just dominated the game, because it's such a tough game and it'll speed up on everybody. But when you have a catcher who's in a leadership position, who's in big spots, and their heart rate is low, it's such an incredible trait to have. And I think that's what Jonah Heim has, our catcher in Texas, Gold Glover, and, you know, started the All-Star game last year. His pace and his heart rate is so good that when you're in the World Series and the bases are loaded and Aroldis Chapman's throwing 102, like, if I'm catching in that situation, my heart rate is really high. And I might be chasing it back to the backstop. But Jonah's not, Buster's not, and it looks like the pace that Ethan Salas plays at, it looks like, for me, as watching him, like, he's not going to be chasing that ball either. Like, he's going to control that game. So all the skills and all that stuff aside, all the youth playing at a higher level above his age, all that stuff aside, I just really like the pace that he plays with.
That's such good information. Talking to Nick Hundley here. Last one for me. I mean, you see it a lot on Twitter, and you see it a lot. You hear it a lot, and you know, people are, I don't understand why these catchers now. You know, the catching position has changed, certainly, and there's a new way that's being taught. You know, the glove down, you kind of steal one, and we watched Ethan do it brilliantly when we were at spring training. I could have watched him do catching drills all day, but the position has changed, Nick. It changed from when I was a kid, you know what I mean? And how have you, as a catcher, former catcher, adapted to maybe teaching a little bit a different way to do it?
Yeah, how much time do you have?
I think we got about 5 minutes left.
Yeah. I mean, so let's start off when umpires weren't graded as hard. Right now with the Z system, like, these umpires are graded so difficultly. They get every single pitch. And a lot of them, I mean, we can go into a tangent on ABS and all that stuff too, but umpires have gotten so good at calling balls and strikes with the system that they're graded. Some guys are shooting 98, 99, 100%. So they can't, when I came up, if you would move the ball, umpires would ding you like crazy. It's like, hey, don't do that. It makes me look bad. Catch the ball, hold it so I can see it. Like, if you would move the ball at all, like, you'd get crushed by umpires. And when I came up, like, Greg Maddux told me when I came up, don't move. Like, if you set the target up and you move it, it's like me standing over a ball ready to, like, on a tee and ready to tee off, and, like, in my backswing, you yelling at me. So don't, like, literally don't move. So I was like a statue. I was like, oh my gosh, can I even breathe? Like, this is a Hall of Famer, but I don't want to get sent down tomorrow. Like, please like throwing to me, you know? So now that the umpires are graded so heavily, like, you can move the ball as much as you want, and they can't hold that against you, right? So your goal as a catcher is to make the ball that's 2 inches below the zone look exactly the same as the ball that's 1 inch above the zone. So I'm going to catch it the exact same way. I'm going to try to pull it up the exact same way. So these small margins, when Dylan Cease is throwing 89 mile an hour sliders and 98 mile an hour fastballs, like these small marginal pitches, I want to make those look exactly the same. And then probably talking through one knee down stances like that. Guys are throwing so hard now that the sliders, the splits, like Evo Nate Eovaldi last night was throwing 89 mile an hour splits, 93 mile an hour cutters. Like if I'm in a traditional stance where don't have one knee down, I'm playing higher. The level that I play at is a lot higher than if I have one knee down. So it's a lot easier to block. All the blocking metrics when it first came out, it was like, well, how are you going to block in a one knee down stance? And all the blocking metrics and pass ball metrics are so much better now than they were when most guys went traditional stances. Just because you're playing lower to the ground, you're playing. You don't have to exert as much effort to block that ball, to receive the low pitch, things like that. And we have an amazing catching coach in Bobby Wilson, who is one of the leaders at that and teaching the one knee down stance. So 1, umpiring, 2, velocity, and then 3, just longevity and health. I think it's a lot easier on your body to be in that position as opposed to being in a traditional squat for such a long period of time throughout the season. So there's a lot of positive things about it. Like any revolution that takes place, there's going to be a lot of pushback, and a lot of traditional lists will say, oh, that doesn't look right. That's not the way to do it. But at the end of the day, like, I like flat screen TVs. I like replay. I like planes. Like, I like all those things. Like, let's continue to advance, you know?
Yeah, I like advancements as well. That
Nick,
was an amazing
great stuff. We could
explanation.
probably continue on if we had more time. We don't, but promise you'll come and do this again with us real soon. Maybe in studio at some point when you're in town.
Yeah, I'll sneak it. Yeah, I'll pop in there with you guys.
That'd be awesome, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
All right, Nick Hundley, I got some stuff to react to on that when we come back. Final hour of Ben and Woods. We got a Reindl Report ahead as well. Don't go away. More on the way here on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. Thanks again to Nick Hundley. Just joined us. That was a fun conversation. Final hour of Ben and Woods here on a Wednesday, heading into the 4th of July holiday. Now, of course, everything that Nick Hundley said about catcher framing, I thought that was fascinating about when he pitched, umpires would get mad if he tried to frame. Now everybody does it. But, of course, that could all go away as soon as next season if they decide to go to an automated ball strike robot umpire system. Framing will have zero value at all. It'll either be a ball or a strike. You can catch it ugly, catch it soft and pretty, and it won't make a bit of difference. And all this work that these catchers have done for years and years on framing and, how they show it to the umpire will make no difference whatsoever. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just saying that's a lot of work that's been put in that could be completely eradicated by one rule change.
Yeah, and I don't know that they're discussing full-on robo-umps, right? It's more of
they're discussing it. That may not be what is implemented.
Sure, okay with the challenge system, man. I really am, because last night Higgy on that pitch in the first inning would have tapped his helmet and boom, strike three, you're out. And I'm fine with the challenge. Challenges is fine. I don't know how many you do. I don't know how you keep it moving, whatever. I know that's the most important thing in baseball now, to get it over with, as far as the commissioner's office is concerned. But I don't think I don't know that you'll ever see full robo. I really don't.
If only we had someone smart that could discuss this with us further.
Oh, how about that?
In fact, we do have someone smart. And because tomorrow is a holiday, our usual Thursday guest going to join us a little bit earlier right now on a Wednesday.
It's time for the super polished, yet to be named Smart Baseball Weekly segment with Eno Sarris, son of a bitch. Brought to you by 7 Mile Casino, just 7 minutes from the ballpark by the bay in Chula Vista. Here's Eno Sarris with Ben and Woods on 97.3 The Fan.
Happy Independence Day to you, Eno. What's on the barbecue menu at the Harris or Sarris home?
I'm probably gonna do hamburgers.
Okay.
My little secret is, and this is gonna disgust some people, but it's really good. A tiny bit of fish sauce, a little bit of soy sauce, and then I mix it's like 3/4 beef, 1/4 pork.
Ooh. Eno knows umami. This is what Eno knows. This is to create that umami flavor. Yeah.
Oh, all right. I thought you were going to say you use mayo to put the burgers together, which I have heard is really, really good.
A little extra binding.
Wow. Yeah, it binds it. Yeah, and it's a little fatty in there and a good flavor. I think that'd be a decent. I may try that myself. Let's try that. Yeah, I'll do that. You do yours with fish sauce on it, and we can compare.
Don't disparage the fish sauce. It's in a lot of things you like. You just don't know it's in there.
You don't put a lot of it. Yeah, you don't put a lot of it in it. So it's not like you would separate it out if you're eating it.
I love a good fish burger. I like my beef to taste like fish every time if I have the opportunity.
Don't knock it till you try it.
All right, that's fair enough.
So, we were just talking with Nick Hundley and about framing, and then, the idea of the automated ball strike system came up. How do you see it playing out? How is Major League Baseball going to handle this? Because obviously that discussion is not going away anytime soon.
Yeah, I think it's going to be the challenge system like you see in tennis. And I think that's the best outcome because it's fun for the viewers. In tennis, when they challenge a double fault, they go to the big board immediately. Everyone looks at it. There's a limited amount of challenges. You look at the board, and the crowd goes, oh, when they watch the ball bounce, and there's like an audience participation portion of it. So the challenge system is you have 3 challenges. The batter has to challenge immediately. There's no looking over to the manager to see if they should challenge. And you only have 3 for the game, so you have to kind of hold on to them. But that means there's no huge – you can't lose the game on a bad call. There's no if you have the bases loaded in the 8th or something, then you can challenge it. And it's immediate, and there's audience participation. The reason I don't like ABS as it is now is that walks and strikeouts went through the roof in the minor leagues when they instituted it. And their only sort of recompense has been to shrink the strike zone, and walks and strikeouts are still kind of high. And then lastly, I think there could be unintended consequences. I think of Sergio Romo and Rich Hill throwing frisbees and these huge 12-6ers that hit the plate that the catcher catches 2 feet outside the strike zone, but nick the strike zone and make the light go green. I'm not sure that I want baseball to sort of, end up in that direction.
Yeah, and I've always been of the opinion that it doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't. And I know it's recency bias and everything, but I mean, I'm seeing some lately that is, the catcher may move his glove a little bit, but the ball's down the middle. I mean, it's 96 at the, not even at the top of the zone. It's down the middle. And these guys are missing. And I understand how hard it is. Your eyes can only catch up. These guys are throwing nastier stuff than they ever have before. But I do think that, there's some way to do it where everybody is happy. I mean, but then again, we're talking about baseball that can't decide on a uniform baseball that it works for everyone.
Everybody's happy?
Right,
Everyone's
yeah.
happy?
Yeah,
no, I don't think that's
never.
possible.
Exactly.
And one thing that we have seen with the umpires is that since we've had the machines, the umpires have been trained by the machine. And so I know this is kind of hard to hear, but the umpires are doing the best they've ever done.
Yeah, it's true.
Numbers.
It's true.
I think Mike
and they're pretty good. It's like a 95% sort of thing. So it's not, it may feel sometimes like they're guessing, but they're actually pretty good.
I think if the system is implemented, as you said, with the challenges, I guess my concern, or I would just assume that with as competitive as teams are, if the Astros found a way to cheat stealing signals, you can see instantly if it's a ball or strike. Some way, some team's going to figure out how to get that information to either the hitter or the catcher to make those seemingly instantaneous challenge decisions to know that they're going to be right 100% of the time when they do challenge.
Yes, you're right. They're going to have somebody. There is actually right now a battle over whether the strike zone box is allowed on the iPad that's in the dugout. So the umpires complained that players were using the strike zone box on the pitches they could watch on the iPad to argue with the umpires.
Yeah,
because
so the
of course
umpires
they are.
the umpires asked for the box to be taken off, and then the players' union fought back, and now the boxes are back. But maybe if they do have a challenge system, you are not allowed to have boxes on those pitches on the iPad.
Interesting stuff. Talking to Eno Sarris here on Ben and Woods this morning, and you saw a trade this morning. Aaron Savale going from the Rays to the Brewers for an infielder. Kind of your thoughts on that? Are the Rays trading from a position of depth here, or are they just doing what the Rays do and just moving guys? I looked up his numbers. They're nothing to write home about, but I'm sure every team needs arms. Every team needs innings eaten. What was your kind of take on that? And do you expect some more arms to be moved? And if so, who?
I mean, they have a couple of guys coming back from injury in Jeffrey Springs and Drew Rasmussen. They're in a really tough division, so it could just be an early sell. They're at 500, but they're fourth in their division. Aaron Savale hasn't turned out exactly as they'd hoped. He's a kind of a bad fastball guy with good breaking balls. They thought they could coax, 3 really good breaking balls out of there. And I think sometimes his breaking balls blend together. And so I think there's just been, they traded Kyle Manzardo, who was thought of as a pretty good hitting prospect, who's struggled a little bit in the major leagues and has tried so far in Cleveland. But they don't look backwards and, be like, oh God, we got to hold on to Aaron Savale because we traded Kyle Manzardo for him. They do have a little bit of AJ in them where they're just like, nope, next move.
Yeah.
Next move is this, and so they have Shane Baz, who was at one point one of the best pitching prospects in the minors. He's lost a little bit due to injury, but he's ready to go. So they're just going to stick Shane Baz in there and keep on trucking. And if the next person goes down, hopefully, one of their returning guys from injuries is back. And, they also want to think beyond this year. So if they trade him for somebody that they have next year, then that's so much the better for them.
They always do. They always think beyond this year.
Yeah.
Always. We are a little different here in San Diego. And we've been talking about how creative our general manager is going to have to be. There's money constraints, there's prospect constraints. Kind of how do you see potentially in your gut the trade deadline for the San Diego Padres shaping up?
Yeah, the Crochet thing is just super interesting because you can get Garrett Crochet as probably the jewel of the deadline. because he's got years of control. He throws 97. He looks like an ace, and he's in Chicago with the White Sox, and they're not going to be good in the next 2-3 years while they have him. The problem is that the most innings he's ever thrown before this year is 60. Now he's at 95 or 100. And every inning after this is sort of stepping into the unknown. What if you trade for him and you have to shut him down for the playoffs, or you have to turn him into a reliever or whatever it is? That would affect your short term. But the nice thing is you have him for the next couple of years, so it wouldn't just be a deadline acquisition. And if there's anybody that I think would maybe, quote unquote, throw caution to the wind, it might be AJ, and just say, hey, we're going to let Garrett pitch as much as he feels good. And, we're doing that right now with Michael King in a way, and so he might just roll the dice there, and maybe he can acquire Crochet for a little bit less than you'd expect, given all these questions about how many innings you'll actually give him. The best otherwise is like a Jack Flaherty rental from the Tigers, or you kind of wait for the Rangers to fall out and do a Max Scherzer rental. But the clear jewel is Crochet.
Talking to Eno Sarris from The Athletic here, and with James Wood making his Major League debut on Monday, a lot of people revisiting once again the 2022 Padres-Nationals Juan Soto trade, and I imagine we're going to be doing this for decade to come.
We don't have to, though. If we don't want to. It's our show. We don't have to do it.
I know we don't have to.
Yeah, we don't have to do it.
And in some ways, it's impossible to ever really do it. I mean, you can, how do you? I mean, you can just go straight like war for war and who gave you more in the future, but you can't really do that because, players then turn into other players like the Padres did with Juan Soto, and you can't take away a National League Championship appearance, a series appearance. Does that happen without Juan Soto? Have no idea. So it really is impossible, even after the fact, to truly evaluate a trade.
I'm sorry,
And if you were going to go back and look for it, you'd have to realize that, James Wood had like a 60-40 chance of turning out to be, even now that he looks so good and he's in the big leagues, he still has a sort of 50-50 shot of being a great player, and so you have to think about the sort of probabilities of each thing. And it does look like that trade for Soto, a lot of the players that he traded away in that trade are turning out to be on the better end of their probabilities. C.J. Abrams might be one of the worst defensive shortstops in big leagues, but he looks pretty good on offense, and he's super young, and they have him forever. Mackenzie Gore turned out to be one of the better versions of himself, I think. It's lining up to be like, okay, they did a good job in that trade, but they were also trading, a few years of one of the best hitters on the planet, and the Padres got something out of it too. So, one thing that just sort of boggles my mind is that, Jackson Merrill's, in center field playing really well and looking like maybe even a future star himself. And they traded away so many guys and they still have a guy like Jackson Merrill. So, the playbook is clear for Preller. It's just keep restocking the cupboard and keep trading them away and hold on to a couple of them.
Maybe even current star for Jackson Merrill, your National League Rookie of the Month.
That's
as
right.
of this morning.
Right.
Eno, you have a very good 4th of July holiday. Good weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week.
All right, thanks, guys.
Eno Sarris of The Athletic, our Smart Baseball segment, brought to you by 7 Mile Casino.
Enjoy your fish burger, Eno.
It doesn't really taste like fish.
So why put it in there?
It just kind of amplifies the flavor of other things.
Why wouldn't it be meat sauce then?
Yeah, well, I mean, it is made from fish, I believe.
Beef
so
oil.
It's just an accurate name.
Wouldn't you want your beef to taste more like beef?
See, like you
so
love,
you'd add beef oil.
You love Cholula, right?
Yeah, love Cholula.
Yeah, it's got that kind of
smoky.
Kind of, you say sometimes smells like feet a little bit.
A little bit, yeah.
That's what fish sauce is. It's got that
foot
extra
sauce.
kind of funk to it. It just makes everything taste better.
Okay. I mean, if you like the taste of smelly feet, then yes, it sounds like it's right.
I think you do, actually. I think you do.
I could be.
All right, Paulie's got Reindl Report coming up. We'll look ahead to the matchup tonight. Padres Rangers, Game 2 of the series, all ahead after a check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan. Padres, like most teams, are in need of starting pitching depth. I brought up a name during the break that Woods did not seem interested in, but yesterday, the Texas Rangers parted ways. Well, I guess Johnny Cueto opted out of his minor league deal with the Texas Rangers. Now, Johnny Cueto is over the hill. He's not the Johnny Cueto that was really good pitcher, by the way, for good chunk of time back in the 2010s. Johnny Cueto was one of the top pitchers in the National League for a while. It's not that anymore, but, you know, he's got experience, and if he's healthy, there's a team that's going to want to take a flyer, I would think, at some point on Johnny Cueto here.
Yard Barker, which is a baseball website, has him potentially helping out the San Francisco Giants, which he has a long history
Go
with.
back there.
The New York Mets and the Boston Red Sox. So I don't know. I mean, are we in a position to turn down anyone at this point on a minor league deal? I think the answer to that question is no, but doesn't blow my hair
I
back.
will say that anytime you pair a pitcher with Ruben Niebla, there is some intrigue there because there's a track record of whatever magic that Ruben Niebla has working. I mean, look at Big Fudge, your new favorite.
Love Big Fudge.
Austin Davis.
Yeah.
And the changes. I've seen some side-by-side videos, some of the Padres Twitter accounts from 2022 versus 2024, and just the incredible amount of extra movement he's getting now. I mean,
Big Fudge?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Coaching does make a difference.
Did we not learn enough, though, from Rich Hill last year? Zach said, smells like Dick Mountain all over again. It absolutely does.
That's true, too.
It absolutely feels like a different version of Dick Mountain. And that was excruciating to watch. I don't know how you guys feel about it, but that was... It's Arrieta. It's Dick Mountain. It gives me like panic attack feeling.
Trying to remember. Last year, we didn't have a ton of major injuries to our rotation.
Right.
Certainly not our top two guys. So, you know, AJ kind of went around the margins. The year we got Arrieta, all the injuries happened right after the trade deadline.
Yeah.
Like right after. Like the day after the trade deadline. So we were kind of screwed there. That's when you had to go get Jake Arrieta in August off waiver, you know, whatever. Vince Velasquez. Ugh. So now AJ knows, and he knows better than us, what the future holds for this season with Darvish and Musgrove in particular. Like, he knows he's got to go out and make some moves.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question. Janine, who is just my favorite, she's incredible in the chat. She goes, I don't know. Cease is pretty awful to watch, too. He has his moments. In my mind, when I watch Dylan Cease, I go, all right, he may be off to a rough start. He gave up a 2-run homer in the first. The reasoning I had with myself was, at least he's throwing 98. I mean, he's up there. He's gassing it up there. If he can hone it, if he can figure out a little mechanical adjustment, whatever. But they pounded him really, really good last night. They really, really got to him and did, as Nick Hundley said, a lot of damage off him. A lot of doubles, a lot of home runs. I mean, everything was for extra bases last night. But, you know, I don't watch Dylan Cease and I'm not filled with rage like I was when I watched Rich Hill pitch. You know, Rich Hill's throwing 61 miles an hour up there, and I'm going.
I'm kind of like Mike Schilt. I mean, I know Dylan Cease hasn't been perfect, but I'm not worried about Dylan Cease.
I'm not. He's
got the stuff still. I mean, he will be on or he won't.
Yeah.
But I'd rather have him out there than honestly. And I know it sounds like I'm such a hater. But today's starter again, Adam Azier, is getting another chance because the Padres don't have any better options.
I hope
he's not pitching again because he's done so well. He's pitching again because the Padres don't have any other options.
I hope Mr. and Mrs. Mazier do not listen to the Ben and Woods program. I'm sorry for his vitriol about your son.
And I don't know if Johnny Cueto would be a better option right now than Adam Azier.
Can I say no? Can I just say?
You can say no.
Can I say no?
You wouldn't be
not.
necessarily wrong, but there's got to be someone out there that's not that you don't have to give up your entire farm system for. That could be an upgrade right now over Adam Azier. Now, Adam Azier in a couple of months or next season or in 2 years might be a really decent, fine starting pitcher, but he's not there yet. And the Padres right now are 3 games above 500. In a massive battle with all kinds of teams for a playoff spot. And they continue every 5th or 6th day to hand the ball to someone who's not quite ready to be a a regular big league starter.
It's too bad we're not on tomorrow because he's going to shove tonight. He's going to
I hope he
absolutely
does.
shove.
I hope he does.
You'll be left with egg on your face.
Adam Major going to shove against
the Texas Rangers.
I forgot about that.
I had forgotten about when Southern Ben, out of nowhere one day, popped up.
It's an authentic show here in Dallas. The Texas Rangers.
Texas? The Texas Rangers.
Texas.
The Texas Rangers here with my family.
And my family. When was that from?
I wasn't asked to do a Southern accent. It just kind of popped out.
You just did it. You just did it. And we said, did you just do a Southern accent? It's very, very good.
That was in March. So it must have been the Tier 1 tour, maybe. We were talking about the Rangers.
Yeah, let's hear it again.
The Texas Rangers. Yeehaw.
That is unbelievable.
The Texas
Rangers.
Got my 10-gallon
Texas
hat on.
Rangers.
Talking about my Texas Rangers. The Texas Rangers.
That was so good. It's so good. You're like a chameleon. Wherever you go, that's where you are.
Adam Major tonight and against John Gray, who you had the numbers, I think, earlier.
12 and
very,
6.
Very successful.
12 and 6, 2.99.
Well, I mean, they beat him 1 out of every 3 times. Maybe this will be one of the 3 that they actually get John Gray.
Yeah.
Just feels like you're going to need more than, a run or 2 offensively to win this game tonight.
Yes, you wanted, what did you say? They've scored 1 run in their last
19 innings after scoring 20 runs in their previous 13 innings.
Feast or famine again. We felt like we were climbing out of the feast or famine hole, and we were right back in it.
It's like they woke up the other day and they're like, "Oh,
just
crap,
because
5 games above 500."
Just
guys,
because you're feasting doesn't mean you're out of the feast or famine cycle.
Yeah, listen, I knew they weren't going to feast the entire rest of the season, but a snack or 2 in the middle of if you're not feasting, have a meal.
Can you go from 8, 9, 11 runs to
4, 6,
just
5,
4?
whatever?
It's fine,
right?
Does it always have to?
Yeah, 12? No. 13? 1. I mean,
that's last season.
That's
last season as well.
That's exactly right. Right the ship today, fellas. Right the ship.
Please.
Going to need more. Going to need more from, I would say, the top of the order. I mean, that's why they hit at the top of the order, because they're really good. Our top of the order lesson was like 0 for 15 or something. So, yeah, going to need more from the top, certainly tonight against John Gray.
All right, we're going to take our final timeout, and then we'll come back, and Paulie's got his Reindl Report headlines for us, and we'll wrap up our short week here heading into the 4th of July holiday with more Bennett Woods on San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan. This hour on 97.3 The Fan is brought to you by the Frozen Ropes baseball and softball training facilities. Frozen Ropes now signing up athletes aged 6 through 12 for baseball and softball summer camps. Half-day and full-day options are available. Make it a Frozen Ropes summer like Bo Woods. For more information, visit SanDiegoFrozenRopes.com. That's SanDiegoFrozenRopes.com.
The game on Sunday, buddy. It's excited.
When does your Tier 1 start again?
Sunday.
Sunday?
Just, I mean, imagine winning the World Series in October, and 2 weeks later, they're like, all right, you're back at it, fellas. And no spring training. Just come on back.
Don't get it confused. What we just went through was basically like the 6-month grind
that's
towards
exactly,
the World Series.
That's exactly right.
You played 12 games?
14, I think.
14 games?
Something like that.
Something like that?
Yeah.
Couple rainouts.
Once a week?
Yeah, once a week.
We had a doubleheader.
You did have that one.
We did have that one doubleheader. It was very hot. We had a doubleheader when we won the championship. That was hot. I've never seen guys play two for a real World Series. But no, we're right back at it this week. We'll be at Vista Sports Complex at 9 a.m. on Sunday, taking on the team we just beat in the championship, the Aztecs. So I'm sure they're going to come hungry and ready to play. We'll see if the World Series hangover is real for the Tier 1 baseball team.
All right, we've got some Reindl Report headlines coming up right after a final check of traffic here on 97.3 The Fan.
From the 97.3 The Fan Traffic Center, here's Kelly Danick.
Traffic is sponsored by Valvoline Instant Draft Oil Change, your trusted instant draft oil change. Guys, I got a couple things wrapping up our afternoon morning drive. Southbound side of 15 past Felicita, crash blocking the fast lane. And watch out for some sort of brick or concrete debris in the left lanes, northbound side of the 805 before 43rd. Stop by any of the 30 San Diego Valvoline Instant Oil Change Centers. You don't have to get out of your car. Usually only takes 15 minutes or less. Plus, get a free courtesy check of your tires and battery. Visit SoCalOilChange.com for directions and discounts. SoCalOilChange.com. I'm Kelly Danick with Ben & Woods, San Diego's #1 sports station, 97.3 The Fan.
And get things started here with our today's edition of the Reindl Report.
Now tuned into the greatest.
Welcome to the Reindl Report with Paul Reindl.
Hi, Paul.
All right.
2 stories from the world of sports that we haven't gotten to yet.
We'll start off in Major League Baseball.
And 1 story that you didn't know you needed.
Are you laughing, biatch?
It's the Reindl Report
Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Okay, how are you?
on 97.3 The Fan.
Are you ready to bless the mood? I need some help, please.
That was good.
Can I get a yeah? Oh, yeah.
All right.
All right.
Paulie, you got Irie Fan Geek in the chat. Says he's in North Park right now. He needs a shout out because he's stranded. He needs a jump.
Okay.
So,
Well, I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to
Paulie,
go give him a jump.
go give him a jump. Do you?
Well, there's Tier 1s everywhere.
There's
Tier
Tier 1s
1,
everywhere.
you got a battery cables, and you can give a fellow Tier 1 a jump start in the area. Find him right now.
Just as an aside, Paulie, before you get in, Trust Tree. I'm looking at you. If you had to,
Well, I wouldn't know how. So.
that's what I'm saying. If you had to jump my car,
No idea. I assume there's you got those clamps, and
Yes,
but
there's
then
the
what do
clamp.
you do? I don't know.
you don't know where to put it.
I don't know where to put it. I would hate to blow up your car accidentally by connecting the anode to the diode or whatever it's supposed to do. I don't know. I'm not a good
even have
mechanical
jumper
engineer.
cables?
No. Well, maybe. Actually, I can't. I am so car inept. I might.
Maybe.
I don't even know. Is there a compartment where they might be hiding, like in the back of my car or somewhere? It's possible. Certainly, it's possible I don't.
You just match the colors, man. It's really
Is that-
even I
and then
can
what do you do?
Just Google it. Watch a YouTube video, something.
Yeah, I could do that.
Yeah, you can watch on
Yeah,
YouTube.
I filled my own washer fluid thanks to a YouTube video, so maybe
That
I could
is-
jumpstart a car.
Well, hopefully somebody goes and helps Irie in North Park right now.
Yes.
All right. Little update on a story in Major League Baseball.
I have AAA.
Maybe.
That's what I have.
Kill me. Maybe.
Little update on a story we discussed the other day. We've got some closure on it. Shohei Ohtani will not be participating in the home run derby in a couple of weeks.
Did you guys see him smoke that kid in the face last night with his home run?
Yes.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, I
That
think he
hurt.
should be suspended.
for the rest of the season. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
That's egregious.
Yeah, I mean the gambling,
The
children,
child abuse.
He's a monster.
What are we doing here, man?
God,
just get this guy out of the game.
He now he had expressed interest, like he still wanted to play, but he said, "I'm going to follow the guidance of the team doctors and what my manager wants." And he said last night through an interpreter, "I'm in the middle of my rehab progression, so it's not going to look like I'll be participating." So he's out. It's kind of bummer. I mean,
I'd like to see him in it.
He's one of the best power hitters on the planet, and he's only done it once. It's like Braun never did the dunk contest. So that would have been cool.
So stupid.
I'd like to see Aaron Judge in the home run derby every year.
Every year.
But I understand it. It's also supposed to be time off for them. But if you're gonna be in the All-Star game,
might as well do it.
We're
just really hoping it ruins his swing, but something tells me it wouldn't.
Probably not.
He'll
He'll be the first guy who actually gets locked
He gets
in
better.
thanks to the home run derby.
I'm just feeling so much. I can feel like I'm seeing it so much better now. All those extra reps, and goes and hits 50 in the second half of the season.
So I'm in WNBA mode. I'm excited. I'm going to my first WNBA game on Friday night.
Very nice.
We're going to go up to LA and see the Sparks play the Las Vegas Aces.
Where's the game?
Crypto.com.
Crypto.com.
Staples Center. And so the Aces, their home arena is actually the Michelob Ultra Arena at Mandalay Bay. They were playing the Indiana Fever yesterday in Vegas. Caitlin Clark draws a huge crowd on the road. So they moved this game from their home arena over to T-Mobile Arena, where the Golden Knights play. And they sold that mother out.
Wow.
Saw some aerial footage from the top of the arena. Every seat was completely packed. It was an all-time record for that arena. Now, the arena's not very old, but they've had Stanley Cup Finals games there. Now, Ben did point out earlier when we were talking about it off the air, the capacity is different because the hockey rink takes up much more space than the court.
That was last night? Holy
last
smokes.
night. And it says 20,366 fans in attendance at T-Mobile Arena. It's the largest T-Mobile Arena crowd in history and the largest WNBA crowd since 1999.
By the way, our San Diego's own Kelsey Plum accrued a season-high 34 points in the win for the Aces.
Excited to see her play on Friday nights.
You don't get to see your beloved
Cameron
Brink. She tore her ACL.
She's out for a while.
She might be there.
She might be there.
Yeah.
I'd probably expect her to be there. And then we were also talking off the air. The WNBA All-Star teams were announced. And the rookie sensations, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, they did make the All-Star team. But, Ben, you were explaining how the All-Star game works.
So this year, because of the
different.
Olympics, they're going to have Team USA is one of the teams, which obviously is filled with WNBA All-Stars. And then there's another team of non-Team USA WNBA All-Stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese, and they're going to play against each other.
So it's Team WNBA versus Team US.
So basically, you have like twice as many All-Stars as usual, making up two teams that are going to play against each other. But it's kind of a tune-up for Team USA playing probably the second best team in the world is going to be the rest of the All-Stars from the WNBA. So it's pretty actually entertaining format, I would think.
Yeah, not bad at all.
And it gets Caitlin Clark there and gets Angel Reese there, and that should be kind of interesting.
And then finally, another update on a story that we discussed a while ago, but this is not sports related. You guys remember we talked about Red Lobster was going out of business or looking to be filing for bankruptcy, and that really, really upset Flava Flav.
Yeah.
Flava Flav was not happy. He loves his Red Lobster. He posted a picture that week. He bought every single item on the menu, had it delivered to his house, and just set up a feast of Red Lobster. And Red Lobster was so moved by that gesture that they have added a item to their menu called Flava Flav's Faves.
That's clever.
Costs $42.99, and the item consists of a Maine lobster tail paired with half-pound snow crab legs, served with garlic shrimp scampi, bacon mac and cheese, and the choice of one side dish.
So are they going out of business or are they not? Are they just doing new
Well,
menus?
bankruptcy is not out of business.
That's true.
You continue on and you just reorganize and you move forward. People
Okay.
continue to need to eat seafood. It's not stopping just because they had some financial difficulties.
That's fair.
People need their shrimp and their crab legs.
Yep.
And their
Maine
lobster
lobster.
tails
Yeah.
and their bacon mac and cheese.
All right.
With a little fish sauce in there.
Yeah, a little
Really
fish sauce.
kick up the umami.
No, beef sauce.
Beef
Makes
sauce in the fish.
taste more like fish. That's what I learned today. Fish sauce makes beef taste more like beef. So then beef oil will make your fish taste more like fish.
Possibly.
If logic serves. That's it for us.
I like Flava Flav's faves.
Yeah, Flava Flav's faves.
Like Oprah's favorite things. $42.99. I know sounds like a lot, but you're getting a lobster tail in there.
Yeah.
I mean, lobster is pricey.
It is.
Even at Red Lobster. It's in the name.
Should we do Ben's likes? We haven't done
We
it
should.
in weeks.
Yeah, we got a
have not
couple
done it in
minutes,
weeks.
but yeah, we probably should because we hadn't gotten to it the last couple of
Have
Fridays.
we added any, Paulie?
It's a Wednesday.
No, remember, we kind of we do it in big
Chunks.
chunks.
Spurts.
Chunks.
We're getting
I have to
close.
like some things.
We're getting close?
Before you can add.
Our number is usually about 50 per segment, and I think our fourth installment's at like 30.
It's going to be 14 minutes straight of things that you like.
Adam Mays, you're not on the list, unfortunately. One day maybe you'll make the likes.
That poor kid.
But not there yet.
Yeah, he's going to go 6 shutout innings tonight.
And then maybe he'll make the likes.
All right. I like Adam Major. I like what he did the other night. I like his breaking ball. Can't wait.
What do we got? So, but between now and when we come back next week, Padres finish the series against the Rangers today and tomorrow, and then they're home against the Diamondbacks Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and then they got a day off on Monday, and then 2 against the Seattle Mariners, and 3 against the Atlanta Braves, and possibly by that Braves series, as we found out yesterday, Xander Bogaerts could be back after a rehab stint, assuming Luis Campusano is going to be back fairly soon as well. He's been in Lake Elsinore the last 2 days. Some good news. I mean, still a lot of question marks about the health of the Padres, but at least some positive signs about players coming back.
So you're going to be out Monday.
I am also out Monday, yeah.
Me and Paulie will be in. First 2 hours are going to be me and Paulie solo, and then Tim Flannery's going to come in and shoot the breeze, tell some stories for the last couple hours.
wait.
Looking forward to that. Always love him. He is such a gentleman and a really soulful baseball man. You guys all know Flan well. So looking forward to that on Monday as well. And let's get to some things Ben likes.
Sounds good. I like good, juicy, sweet strawberries.
I like a good marching band. I like a good thin pancake.
I like a Nickelback song or two.
I like a barbecue chicken pizza. I really like those seeds. I like a midnight buffet. I kind of like the smell of soft scrub. I like more of a small derriere. I like cake.
I like Ed Sheeran.
I like both a hamburger and a cheeseburger. I like clocks. I like how I've kind of set up my life. I like grasshopper pie.
Oh, no, I like it creamy. I like good, firm banana.
I like just looking out at the sea. I like eating.
I like moist.
I like curry.
I like big butts.
I like fried Brussels sprouts. I like more of a firm filling. I like corn.
I like Nordstrom. I do like musicals.
I like pepperoni. I like nice hotels. I like Nick getting a start today. I like nuts. I like Steph Curry. I like that song.
I like Squirt.
I like sake. I like San Diego State.
I like Straight Up, Paula Abdul.
I like the beef and broccoli. I like to mix it up. I like science experiments. I like that song. I like the crispiness of the waffle. I really like cheese. I like the little lunch meat. I like very straight lines. I like cannelloni. I like a well-crafted headline. I like brown sugar. I like maps. I'll say I like Justin Turner.
I like going to golf games. I like diving into chores. I like sugar. I do like Butterfinger. I like blue and silver are not bad colors. I like the time change. I like Major League Baseball's new rule. I like the radio. I like geography. I like the knuckle method. I like Skippy. And I like pie. I like Bob Melvin. I really do. I like Jace Tingler, too. I like this day. I like being right. I still do like movie scores. I like good food. I like maps. I like when interviews can turn into organic conversation. I do like a Stouffer's French bread pizza. I like having the wind go through my hair. I think I like shows that the characters have an arc. I like the full lettuce, tomato, onion experience as well. I like those kind of burgers. I like that big overflowing bag of fries. I like those little Smarties rolls. I liked what I saw from Seth Lugo. I liked his competitive fire. I like walking around between the different lands. Steve Kerr, though, I like that. I like living on the coast. I like watching Tiger still. I like the idea of that matchup. I liked what I saw in the preseason. I like the aloneness sometimes of Texas Hold'em. I like watching San Diego State basketball. I like those cashew-buttered cashews. I like cold, clear sake. I like a lot of things. I like Chick-fil-A sauce. I just like rankings. I like Steve Winwood. I like Pie Gal Poker. I like to be informed on subjects. I like Chicago. I like Tom Petty. I like the idea of another left-handed bat in the lineup for sure. I do like a good Matt Damon film. I like being on the same page. I like broccoli. I like Brussels sprouts. I like a lot of things. I like this shirt. I like Wipeout. I liked my omelet. I like San Diego State at home. I like when a baseball player can be more than just a baseball player. I like vanilla. I like the atmosphere. I like the felt on a poker table, just kind of how it feels under your fingers when you're there. I like rhubarb pie. I like the window seat. Changing the subject. I like that. I like just the standard yellow peep. I like how San Diego State's playing right now. I like finer things. I like calling a game. I like fiction more than nonfiction, just like the cream. I actually like playing golf with other people. I've liked everything I've seen so far from Mike Schill. I like Mexican food. I like just the solar system. I do like steak. I like specifics. I like going to 7 Mile Casino during the day. I like that people are there having a good time. I like my new eating schedule. I liked what I was eating. Yeah, I like the variety of the menu at Sammy's. I do like a good midnight buffet. Whew! Man. That is a lengthy, extensive list. Am I not discriminating enough?
I don't think so. I think you like too much
that stuff. I need to start narrowing down the field a little bit and like less things.
Jake says, I'm starting to no longer like the likes. Jake, that's brutal for us. We're going to have to come up with a new bit, my friend. It's a nice little show killer at the end. Jake,
I liked everything about this week.
Ben says, Jake says, Ben makes me want to not like things. I know.
Well, the alternative is things Woods doesn't care about.
Basketball. Most things. Most things. Yeah, that's the
It'd actually be very short.
It would be short.
Most things.
Most things. Yeah, I
don't care. Woods doesn't care.
I don't care about that. Oh, lost my keys. So you can tell I'm ready to go. I have my keys in my hand. Ready to get out of here for the weekend, my friend. You're off to Santa Barbara.
Yes, I'll be gone Friday through Monday. So
the horseback riding,
try not to get us fired or anything on the day I'm not here.
No, we'll be fine. The horseback
plan coming in though, that's cool.
Your horseback riding,
yeah.
Drinking white wine,
with some red wine too.
Some delicious meals.
Yeah,
golf,
oak grilled meats, and
oh my god,
little golf.
Jesus.
Maybe some pickleball.
Wow,
you know.
It is
bougie things.
Very.
That I like doing.
Very bougie. Please ride a horse this year. I'm begging you for the content alone. You don't really ride the horses, but I'd like you to this year. I'd like to get you a picture of you. You've lost the weight.
That's true. It's less onerous on the horse.
Correct.
Thanks to sdfatloss.com.
I'm begging you. Mama Higgins, if you're listening, get him on a horse this weekend. I need the picture of him on a steed.
All right, that is it for us. Annie and Elston coming up next. Have a great 4th of July holiday, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. For Paul Reindl, for Stephen Woods, I'm Ben Higgins. Thanks for joining us, everybody. So long.